There's major storms coming through here, so if I crash, that's what it is. I mean, it is black. It's getting black out there, like dangerously black. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to let you know.
Yeah, we have tropical. We got high humidity again here, so it's like 95 degrees and 60, 70% humidity. Yeah, it's humid.
So things are good. This is stream 1 of 5 straight days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're involved in 4 of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm not involved tomorrow, but otherwise I'm involved.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, so Wednesday. Yeah, so it's a busy week now.
I hear Will's taking John's place in the Manic Kingdoms tourney, which is good.
Yeah, so I didn't read all the posts. I just saw now that something okay. So yeah.
Yeah, John couldn't make it, so yeah. So which is cool.
That's good. I have my photography club tomorrow, so I'm busy that way. So
Nice.
busy week. Yeah, so it's perfect that it's on Thursday. It's been on Thursdays for like 10 years now. So
Oh,
so the good thing I didn't have to read. Well, that's why we put.
they like my idea.
Okay.
What, this idea of castles? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Right?
It's a good idea.
Done it. Yeah.
See, sometimes we listen, especially when we didn't have something set for next week. So it was perfect. Like we don't have something set for next week yet, but we're not gonna get hammered on those suggestions. But I imagine we'll have to come up.
With
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll come up with something. Having some fun. Buttons next. How about this one? So hopefully everyone out there is doing well tonight as we're starting to get cranked up here, getting into the swing of things. Sound is good. You can hear us all out there. I'm assuming, Nicole, you can hear our discussion, which is good, which means you can hear me. Just want to always triple check. Hey, get down.
Yeah, we haven't said much yet, but a little bit.
No, we haven't.
Okay, good.
Excellent, Jason. Nope. Gotta take notes. Pull up some stuff I don't know about that I want to utilize in this one.
Yeah, my morning was good, and my afternoon is good too. So yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, thank you. Damn weirdo too. That's a cool handle. Yeah. Hey Troy.
What's up, Troy?
Count Steph.
Hi, Taryn. Go ahead, Taryn. Since I'm sitting here doing nothing right this minute, here, give me a quickie shout out there. Did I ever do my? I didn't even do the shout out for
Yep,
Sure.
she's fed. Yep. She's fed, so she's happy at the moment. I have plenty of treats ready for her if she gets hungry.
My pleasure. Hello. So, hanging.
Yep. She's going to be napping next to me here. Yep.
Also been told from a little bird that the crier of Altamira, if you were him during the joust, or Tim is
The
going to
coolest
have
ever.
an ad soon coming up for the prelude for the Grand Dealing of Altamira.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hear that? That was fun. Oh my god.
Okay. Let sound like banging the table.
Yeah, that sounded like a bang on the door. That was actually thunder. Nasty storms coming through here, everyone. So if I go, something happens and I zip out, that's what it is. If my power goes out or something. That we're early, of course. So let the music play here a little bit. Tonight, castles, keeps, and fortifications. $113. Just seems like we just did the 100 show just a little while ago. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's already 13 episodes ago.
Crazy.
Like a year or so.
under a year for the 200 show.
It's good that they're spread out a bit. So.
Yes, definitely. I put together, I haphazardly put together some stuff, and then I was thinking to myself, my gosh, I have all these setups of keeps and fortifications myself on the table.
You have a whole game table full of them. Yeah.
I got a lot of those in.
Yeah, so. That's good.
Wait, one more minute. How's that sound, everyone? So, looks like we're good here. Just checking out some. Oh, Alyssa's on. Alyssa Faden's watching. Hi, Alyssa. In the list.
Yep.
She may be lurking, but that's cool.
Yep.
So that's good to see. So I know we're early. So, hey, Megan. Good to see you.
Yeah.
I'm sending a quick text out so the music may play again.
We need to get started before Gary gets on and ruins everything with his snarky comments.
Yes.
I love his snarky comments. They're awesome.
Yeah, isn't it? It's crazy. Him and his snarky
Get
comments.
my-
What's up, Armin? Lurking away from
Camera
New
right
Zealand
here.
is fine. So, and guess what? We are 4 days away from Virtual GreyhawkCon signups, and I just got in a great event, which I'll talk about. I got an event that'll probably fill out in the first 10 minutes of signups. So I'm gonna come on a little early. Why not here? Hey, what's up, Patrick? Good evening, everyone. I'm J.K. Lord Gazumba for another Legends and Lore. Hello. With me, as always, is the great Anna Meyer and the wonderful, fantastic Greyhawk Mike Bridges. Yeah. How are you all tonight? Everyone good?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very
I'm
good
awake.
to hear.
Yep.
It's like it's Wednesday. Now, please note, it is, I got major thunderstorms coming through the Philadelphia market, so if I go out, that's what it is. It's bad. So, it's pitch black out there, and there's also even a tornado watch. So, just letting you know. So, I realized, hey, I got 5 streams in 5 nights again. Well, one of them's in the daytime. So we're Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've got a stream every day coming up this week. So lots of content coming out. We'll talk about that. Did they just go through you, Jason? Okay, well, there you go. So Jason knows about it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But note, GreyhawkCon once again is the sign up start at noon on Sunday Eastern time. Okay, and just note, I got a really fantastic game in. I have the Troller Games game itself in, and here, I'll do this announcement at the end too, but just for you that are on now, really quick, Steven Chenault himself is DMing it this year.
Ooh.
Okay,
Cool.
So, and it's called Where the Dogwoods Bloom. And of course, CK means Castle Keeper from them, and that's by Steven Chenault, and that is available for signups. So there you go, and that will be really cool, as we just got that in, and finalized. So that's another one to sign up for. There's a lot of great content to sign up for. But tonight we're going to talk about castles, keeps, and fortifications. And Nagoya, thanks for coming up with the idea.
Yes.
and Anna ran with it. So. Mike, first thoughts on this topic?
First thoughts was I had got onto Jason's index last night and to see just what I had to work with. Typed in the abbreviation for castle on there, which is CTL. So I did a search for CTL, got over 300 hits.
Well, that's all.
So then I was like, well, this is going to take a while.
Wow.
So we might be doing more than one episode of this.
Well, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's so much to talk about. This is a huge topic.
That's great.
So,
Great to hear.
so many castles.
Yep.
Forts
large topics are good. Incoming raids coming in, great.
Oof.
All right, so I will hold off. That's cool. Awesome to hear.
Is it blue box?
Yeah. Normally they do it while we're not even live, so this is actually good.
Yeah. Awesome.
So the giveaways tonight, and I'll go over this again as so I'm gonna. It's a choice. We'll do a classic reprint choice, unless you're out of the Canada, you are out, and we'll do some kind of gift certificate. But look at these choices. So Deep Dwarven Delve, or White Plume Mountain, or Mordenkainen's Fantastic Adventure. So you pick, and if we get some kind of hype train, we'll maybe probably do 2 there. Here comes Blue Box in. So.
There they are.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to see you, John and crew. Caught us while we're actually on this time, so thank you so very much, John, for that. Really appreciate it. And as always, you want to hit up John at Blue Box anytime. Doing some great content. He had a monster show last night, and
Yes.
thank you, Keith, for that resub there. And really appreciate it, John. We're gonna have a really nice discussion on castles, keeps, and fortifications of Greyhawk tonight. And I don't know what this is, like the economy one. I have no idea. I have no idea what direction this discussion is gonna go. So that's a fun thing about this one, is it can go.
We might have to crowdsource this one.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Thanks to Troy, we got a hype train already.
Oh,
Look at that.
awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
Troy.
you.
We got us a hype train already. Wonderful. So. First thoughts were 300 hits on Jason Zavoda's index. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
I knew there was a lot of castles, but yeah.
Oh, thanks, Patrick, for doing that for Taryn. My first thoughts was, where do I start? Right. And so I said I'll start at the beginning, and I went to Keep on the Borderlands.
Okay.
I was like, hey, what's that? Kendall Keep now? It's called, right? In later editions. But I got the original Keep on the Borderlands. That has a big castle in it that you do a lot of adventuring in from back in the 70s. So I was like, I'll just start there, A castle is only as good as its steward under Castellan, as the ever mysterious Tim says. Well, then we know that a lot of them are really piss poor in Greyhawk in my campaign, right, Tim? Because most of the Castellans are incompetent. Or meant to be that way due to role play. So, but good point there. And thank you all for pumping this up. Got a new adventure tomorrow night, and they're going to need all the help they can get tomorrow night. But Anna, what are your first thoughts?
Well, you know me, I'm overthinking everything. So by several magnitudes. So when Brian suggested this, I ran wild with it, and my thoughts are always like, okay, let's categorize this. Let's pick the pieces apart and start thinking about it. So for me, it was like, okay, so what types of castles, and are there cultural differences? Who are the biggest and most prolific, or like build the best castles? And are any cultures that don't build any castles? What about demi-human castles? Are there halfling castles too? And what are the historic castles, like the Urflan versus state of the art in the 570s and 590s and stuff like that? Is that and how do magic and dragons and other stuff affect castles and stuff? So these are the kind of thoughts that came to me first, so to speak. And then you have the odd ones, and what about the humanoids, orcish and goblin castles and fortifications and stuff? These are my thoughts. So yeah.
As usual, Anna's playing chess. I feel like I'm playing checkers.
Well, yeah. So
sorry,
wherever this discussion goes, we're going to find out, right? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. To have a little fun with this tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So my beginning on this would be, oh my gosh, Troy. Troy's on a roll. Oh, you're DMing me up already for tomorrow night? You're awful, man.
Damn,
awesome,
he's going
Troy.
to giving you the tools here.
That's it. That's awesome. Thanks. So we've already hype trained it up a level 2. So 2 giveaways. First choice winner, second choice winner of these 3. There you go. Deep Dwarven Delve, White Plume Mountain, or Mordenkainen's Fantastic Adventure. And if you're in Canada or overseas, I'll sub a gift certificate out. Note that Chuck from Troller Games just got back from vacation, and he got the Steven Chenault game in, and he got the but he hasn't gotten me all the gift certificates yet. or the giveaways for this month. And note that there's a main book that you'll see in here for his discussion that you're going to see pop up, and we're going to probably give this away on Sunday night, multiple ones of this, all right? And that's this Engineering Castles book. So note, you'll see this and mentioned a couple times, and I'll show it what's inside it. But note that Chuck just is running a little behind on cutting out some things there. See, look, Rich, I got you. I haven't even set the gift. Yeah, I got Rich there. Rich is turning into the Casey of the show there as he put the drawing up. Let me set that up, or did I already set it up? I don't think I did. So let me set the giveaways up here. And so Keep on the Borderlands is where I go back to first, right? I mean, that's exactly the beginning of it, was B2 and had a really great keep in there, and there were shops and there was things to do. And you didn't know what the heck you were doing back then, right? When you were playing.
There was no castles in B1.
What's that?
I said there was no castles in B1.
Was there? I don't think there was.
No, I'm just being silly.
Yeah. I don't think
B2 is.
Yeah.
The first one I remember. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Anna. Go.
I was the first one I remember was that they keep in Hoblet, and then you have the moat house. That both are kind of fortifications.
Good points. Good
yeah.
points.
So those were the first ones that I encountered in my Greyhawk career, so to speak.
So I got to do this. I got to do selfless promotion. Moat house, you say?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go. Return to the Moat House. Available on T-shirts. Still have limited quantities. Virtual GreyhawkCon T-shirts. Please note that they're there in inventory. They're coming in. So, but the inventory that you order is what's left as far as going right out the door. So note that. I mean, the Moat House is great. It's in ruins. And how many of you out there took the Moat House and made it into a base of operations? I bet you we all did at one point in our lives.
No, we actually didn't get that far, but that's a cool idea. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really neat and cool idea. But we got some books. There are 3 main books from D&D that I know of. Anna, why don't you hold up the one you have?
But we have the castle guide, and Brian Nagoya Joy, you pointed it out, and it's an excellent source.
Yeah, it is.
And this whole series of books, get them all, and if you only can get them as PDFs, do that, because they are great. They're excellent.
Yeah.
And then we have one that is very Greyhawkish, and that's the Castle Heart. That is part of, I don't think this one was by itself. It was the castle box set.
There was 3 castles.
Yeah, so there was one Dragonlance, one Forgotten Realms, and one Greyhawk in a box set that was called Castles. I don't know where the box and the rest of it happened, but this was in my Greyhawk collection.
I have it in one of my bins, and I couldn't find it. And
the rest is sorted out somewhere. Yeah, I think the boxes disappeared, but the other stuff are somewhere else. Yeah, and I want to point out another one that is old Palladium's guide to a whole bunch of stuff, weapon, armors, and castles. There was a separate little castle booklet. And then that came out in 81, 82, I think. And then they made this collection of all the stuff that came in 1991. And it has a whole bunch of awesome stuff in the back. Now you can, when it came out, it was kind of groundbreaking, but now you can find all this with a Google search. But back in before the internet days,
my gosh,
all the younger ones have to realize that we couldn't even find stuff like this in the library. So when this came out, it was big, just like the Castles guide. Meaning pre-internet days, this was hot, cool stuff that you couldn't get anywhere else. Now you can get it, basically all this information on Wikipedia, but not packaged as well as for D&D as these books, because these comes with stats and gaming ideas and stuff like that, implementations for D&D stuff.
So Ranger Harley, no Castle Greyhawk.
Already stirring trouble.
Now, if you go to the expedition, the Ruins of Greyhawk, they're fortifications, right?
Yes.
But they're bizarre. They are. Well, they're intentionally bizarre.
Yeah, but I was going to. I collected a bunch of examples and tortured Jay with them, so we have a whole Dropbox folder full of stuff. And when it comes to, because I think it's a good idea to start, because Castle Greyhawk is kind of the most iconic.
I thought you put the stuff in there for Friday.
No, it's for today.
Oh, I see.
You see, you acting ahead of shows. I'm
I
always.
said, Anna, did you get stuff in for Friday? You said yes.
Oh, well, I probably have no. I haven't get it. I'm
Oh
thinking.
no!
I'm always planning
Here
for the
comes the
show.
crash. All
Okay,
right.
well,
Oh
take
my
the
gosh.
crash
That's
now
why.
and get all the stuff. I'm not going to put anything more in there. So,
Oh my
get it.
gosh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is bad.
You see, I'm always working into the deadline, so to speak, to make it as good as possible.
I said, do you have the stuff
Yeah.
for Friday's show? Yeah.
No, I don't have the
Oh
stuff
my
for Friday
gosh.
until Friday show starts because we're
Oh.
always working into deadline. So yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. So Mike, why don't you discuss one as you'd like to while I am trying to get this pulled
Trying to hold
out.
things
Hold on.
together.
Yeah.
Well,
Castles.
I don't have any
Oh boy.
extensive knowledge of Castles of Greyhawk, Castles of Greyhawk, not Castle of Greyhawk. And we could really just bounce around all over the map and
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's
point
fine.
out things.
Because
But I guess let's start in Furiandi. Furiandi has all the cool action going
Yeah.
on. They have all the
Mhm.
castles and everything.
All right. So let me do this and boom, boom, boom.
Thank you, Gaetano. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So there's a underrated module.
Yes.
Features a lot of castles and forts. It's Border Watch.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. And we're going to come, and there's a conflict here on the map with Border Watch, if I recall correctly, right here,
Yeah. There's some.
right
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
And we can discuss that. So keep on trucking, Mike, as I'm trying to get this.
Yeah, so it starts at Great Wall, which is my eye itches, which is Artur's keep, and from there, I guess PCs go along a
Fort Belvoir.
series of forts.
Yeah.
Is that his
Yeah.
Fort Belvoir? Okay.
Right, and
Okay.
some
Yeah.
of them have names and their own little personalities and such. Yes, they have the best castles wherever Lord Breslin.
Wherever Lord Breslin's
Yes.
hanging. Well, so go ahead, Mike. Like I said,
No. I was going to say that I
I'm trying to get
found
this
it
open.
really. I remember
Here we go.
running it, but then when I looked at it again last night, I realized I didn't remember anything about this module.
It's forgettable.
But it's right. It's forgettable. So, but the maps are something new. The forts are something new. It actually adds to what's in the Marklands.
Oh yeah,
which is remarkable.
yeah. A lot of
its
people
own
don't
right.
know that, and I don't have Border Watch set up. There you go, Anna. Border
Yeah.
Watch is good. It's not a good adventure, but it's good for detail on this area of Furiandi. So it's okay. I mean, any of us could. How do I say this nicely? Any of us could write that. Really, you go around, you just go from place to place and defend for the most part.
Yeah, it's just like a popcorn type
Absolutely.
game. Just
That
you
pictures
want
of
to
you
fight things.
are both very similar in that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Anna, how many are in here? Oh
I-
my God,
I'm
there's
sure
like 50.
Yeah, but I missed it. I'm sure I missed a few as well.
Oh boy.
I'm sure I missed a few.
One. Okay, so Rich says one of the forts is where Castle Hart is supposed to be.
Well, yeah, no. So we have that, and that's what I'm talking about. Port
that the
Valor, right
discrepancy?
here. Barduk Port Valor is right here. So let's
Yeah.
do that. Let's do this. All right. Oh man. So I'm going to try this. I know I have it here. Castles. Heart.
Yeah, it is there.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
All right.
There you
No
go.
crash yet.
So
All
it
right. So
gets-
here's
Mhm.
Castle Heart. Here's a picture of Castle Heart. Now, is this, and this is on the river. Obviously, they've created their own lagoon or, a harbor here, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool, right? Do you not a few copies of Border Watch? Patrick, I'm afraid to move right now. So, if I do, it's buried. I may have, so Patrick, I'm not sure at this point. My brain's going in 12 different directions, but I'll check when I get a chance here. So, This is actually a Greyhawk
A Cobalt.
keep. Yeah, all Cobalt. Yeah, this is all correct. By the way, since Ed's since Sunday night, we've gotten overwhelmed and obliterated with follows, and I really appreciate it. If you notice, we're already over 5,900. So I really appreciate the
Nice.
support from everyone. And note that we are only
And-
96 away from the 6th giveaway of a Best of the Dragon Volume 3.
Oh.
Okay, when we get to 6,000. I
See
give
when
one
you run
away
out,
for the
yeah.
first 10,000. Every 1,000 followers we get, I give away a Best of the Dragon Volume 3, my favorite publication.
And he's
So-
talking about Ed Greenwood, the creator of Forgotten Realms. So Cobalt to all your friends.
Yep, he was on Cobalt. He was on Sunday. So I love this. Now I don't know how feasible this is. It's open, which is kind of cool. It reminds me of Fort McHenry a bit in Baltimore, Fort Mifflin in Philly. That they were flat. It's Revolutionary War era kind of where they're flat and open, but they got walls, you know, and there's a lot of movement for horses inside. That's kind of what Castle Heart reminds me of.
Yeah. Now it's time
the
to get
roads.
castle nerdy here.
Okay.
Shoot,
And
perfect.
because the person who did this probably looked at two things. They of course looked at old fairy tale medieval castles and got the crenellations from it. But what they did was that they looked at the star forts. That was the after medieval times when the era of the cannon and the gunpowder came.
Revolutionary War.
That's when they like started in the late 1500s, early 1600s, and then onwards, and especially in the 17s and up until mid 19th century, actually. Then the star fort in various shapes were the state-of-the-art defenses, so to speak. And Castle of the Heart has drawn inspiration not from medieval castle building, but from the gun era, and that's why they had these very open. The horses had room to pull the cannons from position to position.
That's right.
So and they also had that, but the real, and there are some good star forts in the Dropbox share that I gave you. So you can, there's Star Fort 1, you can show that, and Star Fort in Portugal are
All right, give me 1 second here.
Yep. There you have some good examples we can look into, and then I have some other examples. Yeah, there you have.
Cool.
That's a real world star fort, so to speak. And that's a fairly early era when they started, so it still has a little bit of the medieval still in it, so to speak. And that way what they did was that they replaced the crenellation. You see you see the walls are thick. Instead of 2-3 feet, they are 10, 15, 20 feet thick, because now they need to be able to take gun blast from cannons, and they're much lower because they are not so worried about people using ladders to scale the walls. The walls are there to defend against, so they are like earth mounds that are very slopey like this, because they had gunpowder and cannons, and so you see because they're able to shoot at a distance. So it's more like simply a place to put your cannons in order to get as much firepower as possible. And the shape of the star comes from, you wanted these angles, so if someone got close to the walls, you can place a cannon and simply shoot them off from the wall, so to speak. And that's why you have what they call the Bastion things, and these are the kind of the spikes that sticks out. These are bastions that had cannons that can shoot back towards the fort if need be. So if someone was storming the fort, they can actually be shot at from behind, from inside the fort. That was the idea. That was groundbreaking when they had these kind of
these are all right. So the star shape from Castle Heart is more of for when they had gunpowder.
Yeah,
era.
exactly.
But
it's not medieval with what we would see as
what about
medieval.
boulders being thrown by giants and all that other happy
exactly.
stuff.
That's the interesting thing, because when you take a fantasy castle, that's what I'm going to say. So Castle Heart might not be such a dumb design after all, in some
especially
degrees,
being on the water.
Exactly, because if you have in fantasy, you have a lot of things that were not around to attack castles in the real world in the 1011 12th up to the 13th, 14th century, because then when gunpowder came around, because you had things like dragons, you have spells, fireballs, giant throwing boulders, and all sorts of stuff like that. Siege engines can probably be more advanced in a fantasy world with magic than they were in the real world. And that means that you might need to boost your defenses and fortifications to a more kind of almost like a cannon age a bit. So that way, what I lack when it comes to the Castle Heart is there is no central keep. There is no central bastion to fall back to. And that is a complete bonkers idiot. If you look at every castle, you have levels of defense, and in the center there is a tall bastion that you can shoot at everything on the outside wall and defend the walls. There is no central point in Castle Heart. It's missing the heart, so to speak, of the castle, which is kind of
right.
intended. So that is, I think, the most missing piece in the design. But
it looks like he didn't want to make it symmetrical.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't need to be symmetrical. It's just some of them are symmetrical, but it's up to geography. There are some good examples, especially from Sweden. I have a couple of examples in the Dropbox folder of forts that are not symmetrical because they follow the geography. So if they're on a flat land or they're dug out from the water, meaning in Denmark and Holland and France, there are several examples of star forts that are perfectly symmetrical. Lots of them. There are whole cities that are built. They build a star fort around the whole city. Both Gothenburg and Copenhagen had defenses that were star shaped like that around the whole cities back in early times.
If you notice, this supplement is not small.
No, it's a whole adventure with every person statted out and all that. So so it's not only a castle guide. That's the idea. But I would beef it up with building a major keep in the center, and I will beef up the bastions and make them more impregnable. It looks too cute to me to be a military tough installation to stand up against IU's invasion, so to speak.
Well, very
cool. That Castle Heart's main purpose to be battle system?
Yes, of course. It was made during the battle system era. They also have, this is the castles, and if you look at this, the full publication that this came in, it came in with 3 full color posters and a complete fold up castle. This is the era pre 3D print by about 30 years, almost 40 years, right? Before that was, they're trying to figure out how to do stuff and how to build these things without spending a ton of money, and that was this era in the second edition. Pretty neat.
Jason Savoda had a comment that the trebuchet was the end of the castle era. I think that was the early beginning of the end. The cannon was the end of the castle, so to speak. But in a way, it just evolved. Look at the star forts and other forts from the 17th century and the 18th century. They were castles and forts in every way, and they were made to withstand cannonage and so on. So, but the old fairy tale castle that we have, they kind of ended. It modified into a more and more hardened. And you can even look to World War II. Look at the German defenses along the Normandy coast, and you can tell a straight line from the medieval fort onwards, so to speak. And there are several countries who built forts up until the 1940s and 1950s and so on. So there are modern versions of the same theme that started in about 900s or even earlier than that in ancient times. So it's more like an evolution of materials, design ideas, and dimensions that they played with. And I think that's important to think, because when you want to design your own castles and fortifications for your own adventures, you have to start thinking what is going to attack it, and what the tactics, what do you want to defend against, so to speak, in order to hold it. I think that's the key when it comes to fantasy castle design.
So if you want to talk about another crazy, well, this is a wizard's tower, so there's no, they're not really
but that is also a defensive structure in some ways.
This is Jalarzi's tower in Greyhawk City.
Yeah.
So, and this is right out of Return of the Eight, everyone. So if you want to know where this is, and then we have Jalarzi's level for first floor, and then we have the multiple floors beyond that.
I think also one of the main things to start thinking of is that not all castles are equal in what they do, meaning some of them are military bastions. They are there to defend against various threats and to be a military fortification, so to speak. And some of them are more like a political statement. They are a fashion icon. They are there to show off, not to be particularly much in military defense at all. They're there as a statement saying, I'm rich and powerful, you should obey me, kind of thing. And more to impress than to defend against something. And a wizard's tower can, just like a fortification or a castle, can be either just a big thing to show off your arcane power, so to speak, or it can literally be a place for the wizard to sit up there and scour the horizon in peace, so to speak, or without anyone reaching them. So so you have the whole gamut from one end of the scale to the other, so to speak.
All right, now that Ian has brought that up, let's use an example. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to go there, but let's talk about Zagig's castle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why that location? What's the purpose of its design? 3 towers or something like that. What's it defending against? I want to hear everyone's options on chat or otherwise.
Let me see if I can find.
First, I want to say a little bit when I see that it's built with 3 towers on 3 hills. So it is a bit, to me, it looks like a cool version, an interesting version of the Mott and Bailey design, where you built a little keep on a hill and then you can connect the 3, so to speak, and you get like a 3 Bailey design, so to speak.
For its ley lines, true. But he has like a whole war wagon in one of the towers. What are they defending against?
What's thinking
the enemy?
Yeah, I think that we have to go back in time. Meaning he built this when the city of Greyhawk was on the frontier of the Great Kingdom. Meaning you had the wild coast and areas outside that was not conquered by the Great Kingdom. It was this was frontier country of the Great Kingdom, so to speak. So I guess the Great Kingdom had many enemies back then too. So my sense was that they built it because they probably didn't know exactly what was out there, and there were probably enemies. When you conquer a lot of territory, I guess enemies come in the bargain, so to speak.
Yes, and as you can see, 3 towers. Who knows?
Yeah.
And if you run, it is.
But take the placement. It's built on the opposite side of the river.
Right.
Which to me, I think is interesting. And I've seen multiple cities old cities in Europe, medieval cities in Europe, what they built when they had the city defenses. If there were a hill outside the city, they built a bastion on top of it too. And that was a way so they could dominate the terrain and the area around the city.
So it's the highest thing all around in that location?
Not necessarily, but it's higher, and it's all. I think it was originally if I think from a military perspective, it was probably a way to dominate the other side and control the other side of the river. It was a way to, because the castle was basically in most time, it was a safe place to put troops and military resources that you can control the countryside around you with. And instead of having to go across the river, if a big force showed up on the other side of the river to attack the city, you built defenses on that side too. And that way you can use it to control the opposite side of the river. That, I think, is one idea. The other idea is that some keeps and castles were built outside the city because the rulers were very scared of their own population doing a rebellion and want to attack you. So it was kind of a good idea to you have your safe retreat away from all the angry people that wanted to kill you. So there are two good reasons, depending on who you defend yourself against, so to speak, to build on the other side of the river.
All right.
Yeah, it's a good point there. But I don't know. Who knows what his thoughts are? No one
exactly. He was kind of crazy, but I don't think the idea of building it on the other side of the river is particularly crazy. There's several examples from the real world that done the same.
We know, at least in Zagig's case, we know, like Rich was saying, from the material. There's magic stuff down there that
Oh,
he was
yeah.
exploiting.
Yeah. Mhm.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
you know, now maybe he just overdid it and made it into this big 3 keep structure because he could. He had the money for it.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
it might,
vanity thing.
yeah, that too, and it might also be that that was an area secluded from the city and prying eyes. That might be the most private area if he wanted to hide it from other people in the city and so on, from prying eyes and scrying whatever. So he can kind of hide things there, because if he had a castle and a keep inside the city, if he wanted to bring bigger things like horses, carriages full of treasure or magic items or prisoners or whatever it was, then he had to parade it through the city. So it was probably a much smarter idea to, if you want to have a secret operation, have it away from the big city and all that, if you want to run it in secret. So I don't
Rich,
know.
I mean, reading Expeditions, there's a lot of stuff down there that makes sense why he placed it where he placed it, and you find a lot of it, right?
Oh yeah,
There's
and
a lot of
often
that.
yeah, and money and resources were, that's why you didn't build a lot of castles are not built on the highest peak and the most defensible and so on, because they didn't have the
Ooh.
money, so they wanted to build it where it was needed, so to speak. So
Nottingham Castle taken over through a tunnel. I like that.
So, Anna, why don't you give me a pick you want to discuss here? And then
okay,
we'll go,
yeah,
and
we
it's
when we
relate
go, we can go back and talk about one of the most interesting, most common designs of castles and fortifications in medieval times. You have the Mott and Bailey design. I have 2 pictures of that
There we go.
in the Dropbox there. There's a tiny little one. So yeah, so that's the old medieval type of defense. You had like a settlement, and then you
What's up, Dave?
had a with like a moat around it, and then you had like you had a big, either man-made or natural hill, and you built like a ramp up to it, and then you built a keep that was most often wooden back in the day. And then as settlements got more rich and powerful, they built like a stone keep on top of it. And the keep was usually the residence of the ruler, but it was also a fallback position for most of the people. So you had like defenses around the settlement, and then a separate defense structure around the keep.
So
yeah,
I don't ever recall seeing this in Greyhawk.
No, and
anywhere.
I've seen exactly. I have barely seen this in fantasy, and this was some of the most common fortification design.
This is more realistic looking. This one,
yeah,
I
but
mean,
it's
for what
yeah,
you would see.
Yeah, exactly. And this is just another example of
Yeah.
a version of that Mott and Bailey design, so to speak. So you had the settlement, and sometimes the settlement was built all around it and so on. But and you had like a separate, but you separated the keep, had its own defenses, and then the settlement was around. And if you go back a little bit earlier in time, we can go back to the Viking era and the Iron Age, and you have one that is called the Viking Fort Uland. That one you can take. That's the last one in there.
Okay.
Yeah, Viking Fort Uland. Yeah, there you go. That's a Swedish in Sweden. They reconstructed a Viking fort on the site where it was from the year around 1000.
Okay.
And that is a simpler design, and they simply made a stone wall around the village, so to speak. And there are some earthen defenses outside and simple crenellations, and they had one entry into it. And earlier versions of this had earth and wooden structures on it. There's several reconstructions like this in Sweden. There are several ones, so to speak. So this is a little bit simpler than the Mott Bailey design, but they still have thick walls and fairly high ones, so to speak. So the walls are probably about 20 feet high, 20 to 30 feet.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That seems wow. That seems
yeah, you see
very
that
high for a small area like that. I mean,
But look at that opening you see in the front. You can ride in there.
Right. Okay.
You can sit on a horse and go in. That opening is 10 feet.
And they don't have gates at this point.
No, they had gates back in the day, but they have removed. They have the gates are inside, so you have murder holes. So the gates are not the outside. The gates are 20 feet in. So you have to go in under the murder holes in order to try and blast the gates. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the gates
Very
are in,
cool.
and then they made an opening on the other side, but that's back in the early day. Back in the day, they only had one opening, and then you have one that is called Trelleborgen There's 3 images of it.
Okay.
That's an earlier version that is made out of wood and earthen ramparts. That's the inside of it. That's a house from the seen from the inside. And yeah, and the ramparts were easy to climb from the inside, so that all the villagers can easily just run up on the walls and defend it. And then they were steep on the outside. If you go to the one that doesn't have only Trelleborg, yeah, that one, there's the defenses on the outside. And this is also a reconstruction in Sweden that is based on an Iron Age from about 900 or 800 AD.
They look pretty high. What are they, 20 feet high walls?
They're more than 30 feet.
30,
they're probably between 30 and 40 feet.
Wow.
And they're built, they're made out of earth and boulders. And then they put wood on the outside and then built the ramparts up, so to speak. And then the gatehouse is built. So it's wood, boulders, and wood, rock, and earth. So, and they are very, very tough, so to speak. So, and that's the inside of the gatehouse. So, yeah. So those are I would say, in a fantasy world where you have, when you're that poor, so to speak, and primitive, I can see a lot of old land fortresses and stuff were built using this similar technology like this. And then you,
Jason asked, did they encase the outer wood with thick mud in this?
Oh yeah, what they did was that they put a lot of mud and stuff. If they expected attacks and stuff, they put like dirt and grass and or like mud and stuff on the outside. Yeah.
Okay, it's a good pick. I like that pick.
Yeah. Wow. So it's there to it's actually now sitting in a city park. So they made it. Oh yeah. And there is another one, even more primitive one. We can go back to that one. It's Fortifications Viking Village. That one is there. You can see how small, not everything is impressive big castles, but this is what a small village or a small town would have the defenses, I think, out in the countryside, primitive defense.
Yeah,
so you have, exactly. You have like a tower where you can, archers and scouts could sit and see the countryside. And then you have ramparts that are probably about 10, 15 feet high. And then they use like wooden stakes and very sharp wooden stuff that you can actually pull out that add to the defenses on the top.
So here's my question, Anna. Did Gary make a mistake when he didn't even have earthen fortifications around Hamlet?
Not all villages had it, I'm sure, because it was depending on where you were, so to speak. But I'm surprised that Hamlet didn't have it, because Hamlet was not surrounded by friendly countryside where there were farmers and neighboring village. It was kind of a little bit of a frontier, but they had the alternate. Instead of having defenses around the whole village, they had a keep where that was sturdy and defendable. So they basically, everybody has to sort of run for cover in the keep. That's the other version, so to speak. So these are, and there are several different ideas. It was more like the Motte and Bailey without the wall around it.
Jason's correct. This has 13th Warrior feel to it. Yeah, you're right, Jason. It does. Yeah, where there's really no major defenses.
No, it's minor, so to speak. But this is this type of defenses is when you have squabbly neighbors that are on your level, so to speak. This is not a frontier town in military or an area where you can have expect an orc invasion or whatever. Then you need more to protect yourself. But if you just have slightly squabbly neighbors, then this might work, so to speak. And it might give you
first, the town of Hamlet or the Temple of Elemental Evil?
I think the Hamlet must have been there before.
Yeah. No, Dale makes a great point. They do have the almost like the mayor estate or whatever, the town hall, which is walled. That's and then they have the Tower of Rufus and Burns. They have 2 fallback points. He's absolutely correct. Yeah, that's a good point.
So there, and I think the important thing is to not fall back to stereotypes. Try to be inventive and have variations and so on. So you give your players and your campaign a lot of leg room, so to speak, a lot of inspiration and stuff. And they should be culturally different, regional climates, and then what type of threats. And I need to tell one story is that back in the day, a lot of fantasy castles are just this square with a tower in each corner. And I always laughed and say, oh, that looks ridiculous. And it's kind of, so I always kind of, no, I don't want any of that. So I tried to make elaborate looking cool castles. But then lo and behold, when I went to Crete, they had this old Crusaders fort that was
Okay.
exactly the square one, and it's the Pict. It's down. It's I think they're just called Picts. Hopefully they're
Pict.
in there.
I got it.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
one?
Picts. Yeah, take the Pict 1-3. Yeah, exactly, and go to the last one, the Pict
one?
133. Yeah, that one. I'm sorry about the touristy pictures. I taken with my cell phone on a
That's all right.
tourist trip in Crete, and this is an 11th century Crusaders fort on Crete. Yeah, and those lower square openings are later additions when they in later years when they
For
started having
guns.
machine guns and stuff.
Right.
So they made these openings for rifles and stuff. So they were not there in the original design.
Oh,
Only had
okay.
the crenellations.
Well, it looks like on the mid-level there's an arrow slit. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Here?
Yes.
Is that right
yeah.
there?
Yeah. Arrow slits on up halfway up the walls.
Yeah,
yes.
it looks like
Mhm.
that
on
is.
the towers. Yeah. But the lower ones are openings that were added afterwards for more modern times.
Okay.
But the and that one was exactly a square with the tower in each corner. So there actually are forts that look that way. So it's not out of place. If you want to build something cheap but sturdy and defensible, and I bet that a lot of Crusaders, they basically had the same blueprint, and just if it was a flat area and they had rocks, they just built this in probably a year or two. Because the Crusaders can also and that they also built the Knights Templar, sorry, not Crusade, Knights Templar fortress.
Yeah.
And the Knights Templar built elaborate, super
cool.
awesome structures I've seen in Lebanon and in Israel and Syria and stuff. But these were much more primitive and quick and dirty jobs, so to speak. So, but now I babbled for like
it's
10
good.
minutes here.
So
yeah.
here's my.
I was going
Go
to say, unlike me, Anna's seen real castles,
Yes.
probably.
Yeah,
And
that was one of my
so
things.
you
Every
have
time I
a
went
good
somewhere, I
reference.
studied them both professionally as a soldier and also as a DM and a fantasy freak. So
it's
so I've
fascinating.
studied them in both aspects, so to speak.
Who said fixed fortifications are testaments to the stupidity of man? Right? I heard that in a movie.
Yeah, but
And
they
that-
were they've actually were used all the way up until the 19th century. And that's when they became obsolete. And even
Right.
World War I, they kind of in
Exactly, it was
Normandy and
patented.
stuff. So we fall back to it time and time again.
Yeah, and in a fantasy setting. So here is my dilemma, and I want to see.
Yeah?
I don't know if this is a dilemma for anyone else. Realism's tough to do, complete realism. So where is your balance? Because for me, I have miniatures and terrain,
Mm-hmm.
and it is not. I mean, so here's Winchester's Bulwark, right? It's big. It's not completely square, by the way.
No, but it's yeah. If 30 years ago, I would have laughed at it. Now I'm not, because there are castles that look very much like that.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, so don't worry about it.
All right, because we have. So I have what I have in my hands. You know what I mean? And so how many people are getting the maps that you've shown so far, the pictures you've shown so far? How many drawings for VTTs are there that are like that? Probably none, right? They're probably all standard square.
Yeah, but you can create them,
Right.
and that's one of my goals when my mapping is to when I get down to the gritty detail level, I want to implement as much of this as possible.
It's tough though. I mean, in miniatures, you're limited to what you have, and you make the best. Now, good thing about Miniature Building Authority is he makes rounded, he makes I'll show you some rounded areas here on this one. So here's a forest green bastion. Yeah. So notice I got a lot of rounded walls on this one.
So the defenses and the walls, they look fantastic. The only thing you might want to start thinking about is how it's laid out, and meaning start thinking, what is their fallback, for instance? Meaning you should have, if you build that much, you should have more than one layer of defense, so to speak. So and also start thinking, what type of attacks are you trying to defend yourself against?
I also have to think of what shows well on a camera.
Yes, that too, and what is fun for the players to play with.
Exactly.
That's equally,
Yeah. And you know, you got your Wizard's
And
Tower. If you notice way in the back here, you have a 45 wall, which is really cool
yeah,
too, where it comes in at an
yeah,
angle. So
hmm
there's some pretty
yeah,
neat stuff that you
yeah,
can make. But you
yeah.
know,
And
hey
also,
Tom,
mini. What's your magic levels in your
right,
campaign and your tech
high,
level in your
yeah.
campaign? Yeah. hmm
Yeah, and that's some of the things that you know we'll always take into consideration when making this. But I can understand where a lot of people like this. This has really come to mind. Now you really hit a point with me with these with this. I mean, this should be more of a this should show up a lot more in D&D,
Yeah,
right?
I
It
think, yeah,
should,
definitely
but I've
variants
never
of
seen
this.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, probably use sappers due to lack of a moat, dig underneath and create a failure instead of the spirit of the Well, there's a lot of options, man. There's a lot of
yeah,
things you can do. And
yeah,
Rich is Dune Castle. Yeah, that's square, right?
yeah.
That's
And
square and it's built the wall built into it and all.
mhm,
Yeah, good
yeah.
one there,
And
Rich.
we have in Gary's book the artifact of evil when he starts with an assault and siege on the Strandkeep Castle, when they actually go in from under. So there
Right.
you have yeah. So there you have a perfect example of undermining it, and that was probably a lot why a lot of castles were built on solid ground, meaning rocks,
Okay.
because they didn't want people to dig under it, so to speak. And digging in medieval times were probably not what it is in modern times, or like World War I, where you can had power tools and
Do dwarves
explosives.
have
Here's the ruins of
castles?
I was
Strandkeep
just going to say,
Castle.
in fantasy worlds, you have options that are probably on the level of using magic and creatures and tools. You are probably on the same level that were in World War I, depending on your levels of magic and cool creatures you want to employ and stuff. So definitely you can do a lot of cool stuff against castles, but that also means that you can't have the kind of cute
Nice.
medieval castle design and suspect it to survive, so to speak. And
City
kind
State
of,
of Invincible Overlord, Tim has Thunderhold, right? That's and I don't have that in digital, so I can't show that. But that's a huge dwarven fortress.
Nice.
Huge, you
Very
know.
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Tim has a good point. Dwarves have castles like Petra. Yes, castles that are not built on top of a hill, they're built into a hill. And I think that will be way more common in a fantasy world where you have to protect yourself against dragons, giants hurling rocks and
Probably
spells
Pendrake.
and stuff.
Yeah. Dwarves and fortress which cry on the mountain like Moria.
Elves.
Elves, no,
Elven
that's a
castles.
tough call. I'd say, you know, who knows? I don't see why not. But once again, it's probably, you know,
Yeah.
they're probably deep in the from what I've seen with all of them, they're all deep in the
Yeah.
forest, and it's all you know,
I've
natural.
started. I can talk for 5 hours about elven defenses, but we should not go that far. But what I did with elves was that I looked into. I realized that elves have two strengths compared to others. They have magical abilities on average that are way higher than any other race, meaning they have more spellcasters per capita than probably anyone else. And they also have a lot of nature knowledge, meaning they have more people that are in tune with nature than any other people, so to speak. So those two things made me realize that they will utilize the natural world and a combination of natural world and magic. So what they will probably do is that they will build like earthen defenses, like earth walls full of trees that looks like a forest, and then they will use they would take some of them and turn them into iron, like metal wood, or they will use they will harden the trees magically, and then they can use things like force fields and stuff that can be activated, and various nasty magical defenses. So they combine nature and magic to create various things that they can get the enemy, force the enemy into certain areas, attack from certain angles, and then use magic to blast them, and then attack them when they're decimated, so to speak. So that would be my guess how the elves would do it.
I have estates,
Nice.
so they're all built. They're built buildings, right, for Grey Elves.
Yeah, but the estate in an elven team might be something that a human will not even recognize until they're up on top of it. Yeah.
So, And that's true, Rich.
Yeah,
Can
exactly. I think Rivendell probably has lots of cool defenses that way, but they are not built the same
That's
way
the
using.
terrain. Not
Exactly, they
the
use the terrain and magic and nature herself.
narrow passes.
Yeah,
things like that.
and trees that are thick and very resistant and growing side by side so close that you can't get a horse through, basically, and stuff. So make it difficult terrain that way and stuff.
Yep. So, okay.
So-
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just looking at some of the comments in there about the SOS and the local.
Mike, I know you did a hit on a ton of. Is there anyone that stand out to you that you want to discuss?
Castles?
Yeah.
Not anything in particular, but let's try.
Okay.
Let's see. Has anyone used the Pinterest castles in the Theocracy of the Pale? I believe,
No,
or is that 10?
I
Might be
bet.
10.
Yeah, no, it's up in
Duchy of
Theocracy
10.
of the Pale. Yeah, Dutch. Yeah, then the border between them. I haven't been up there adventuring. I just know that
So
they have
here?
lots of structures. So yeah.
So both of those nations have a line of castles.
Mm-hmm.
10 has the Pinterest castles, and the Pale have the brilliant.
Yeah, I see
Castles.
South Pinterest. Yeah, running along.
The Pinterest castles are more interesting, I believe, because there's one called Pinterest that
Right here.
is famous
Tower
for
Pinterest.
having it was sieged by trolls.
Huh.
So when I read about that, I'm like, man, that would be a scenario I'd love to put players through. Oh, you're in this castle. Okay, now you got to defend against 200 trolls. That would be a night.
Yeah. Well, but how good are trolls at getting inside stuff?
I was
don't
going
do-
to
Probably not very good.
Fortification
exactly.
damage. Yeah.
Exactly. Fortifications are probably very good defenses against, like a
It's a
castle, stone
siege.
castle and stone walls probably work well against trolls. Especially if you
yeah.
can have like roofs and only have
Yeah.
arrow slits and small things that they can't get through. I think that it can work really well
So it
against
would be a
trolls.
case of the trolls are just waiting you out.
Well, they're
Yeah.
regenerating you out too. You're
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
have to
yeah.
burning them a lot, which is tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to
And
come out for the most part or get lucky.
Yeah, but it's a way where you can go back and recover and build your strength, heal up, and get replenish your spells, and then you come out again and you hunt them during daytime. And then when it gets dark and you're low on hit points and spells, you go back to your fortification, and then you can go. It's a home safe base for patrols that can hunt trolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of these we don't have. There aren't any drawings of, which is a
No.
shame.
No,
you know.
exactly. We have very few. When I went over for this show now, we have very, very few actual drawings on castles. And,
So
Yeah.
baggies, that is all right. I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah.
That you just brought up a Tim abuse issue. Okay. If a troll cuts its own hand off and is still alive and throws its own hand over, that hand attempts to go back to the original troll. It doesn't regenerate a full troll unless that troll's dead.
Mhm.
But see, we've had a
Wait.
lot of right. We've had a lot of this.
Which part does it regenerate from? in
It
your
tries
defense?
to make it back to the live troll, right?
Okay, but if you chop it up into lots of pieces, which one will be the new
It
troll,
is.
so to
It's
speak?
Tim abuse. Well, no, if you chop it up into 1,000 pieces,
The
No,
original
but
trolls
10
don't-
pieces.
it
You
doesn't.
chop
If you chop a troll up into 12 pieces, it doesn't create 12 trolls. I'm sorry.
No, but I would have it that it grows back from either the heart or the head. I'm
Right,
not sure which
but
one.
it doesn't.
One
You
or the
can't
two.
just cut its
Zombie
arms and
rules.
legs off, throw them over, and create 4 trolls
No,
on the other
exactly.
side.
Then it will grow back from wherever if you throw the head in and it grows from the head, then
See?
it might work. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but you're not gonna.
Yeah.
They don't multiply and reproduce that way.
Exactly. You only grow one back from one.
One
so to
back.
speak.
That's
So,
it,
yeah.
man.
Mhm.
Just
Yep.
exactly. But that's just I knew I'd get him on that. So I love shooting trolls into places. I've done that multiple times.
Mhm.
But
It's
whole
fun.
trolls.
Yeah, but
so-
you can
Never had
chop the heads off and throw that in and have them regrow from the head. That will be kind of
You can, but then the bodies that are left over don't.
exactly. They will wither and
Right,
disappear.
exactly.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? They're not,
Yeah.
having earth like that, like earthworms and doing that and regenerate.
Yeah.
But there you go. I mean, that's just a bone of contention there. I just want
Yeah.
to get Tim all fired up too. Look, he's
Mhm.
typing in caps
Oh
now.
yeah, yeah. But I think that's something as you as a DM have to decide how regeneration works for your trolls, so to speak.
Yeah. So if you want to see a fight with a lot of carnage in one of these areas, here we go. All right, here, I'll show this.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is,
there
this
you
is
go.
the
Yep.
Watcher's Tower series we did. And, well, first things first. Let me go to this and show you. If we go to boom boom
Down to the Pomarshire or the Ulik.
there we
Yeah,
go.
there you
Now note that for ease of doing this adventure, they are a lot further apart than on my table, but once again you have to make do. And here they are. Oh, not too far from Strandkeep Castle, the Watchers Towers, and there's two of them, and they've been there for 35 years of my campaign. And a couple of years ago we did the scenario, we did a whole series of adventures where they had to defend them. And there you go. And as you can see, there are dead giants everywhere. There are dead. If you notice, there's dead troll here that they burned. There's trolls all along here. There's a trebuchet they brought up. Now, the Prince of Ulik was building another keep because he's an idiot, and that got slaughtered, and all the dwarves got killed here. So there's carnage everywhere. But this is the kind of stuff like, where is the level of, where is realism and where is fantasy? There's a conjunction somewhere, right?
Oh, exactly. You have
know?
to. But I think that you should infuse your fantasy with something that is logic from its premises, meaning magic is real, dragons are real, and stuff like that. And then figure out what would work, and then it needs to look cool and be cool too. So,
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And, you know, you got to utilize your stuff. I mean, these are great
Yeah.
towers from Miniature Building Authority, and just wanted
Yeah.
to use it. But notice there's death everywhere. There's death up
Mhm.
top. There's death below. So
Yeah.
you know, there's. So we just wanted to have fun with it,
Yeah.
and that was the after effect of all the carnage there. So just the
Yeah.
conjunction is
And
where.
you can invent magic for defenses too. You can have
Absolutely.
magic that prop up stone and wood and stuff like that. You can defend against fire, cold, lightning, all sorts of stuff.
I will
Especially fire
pronounce
is
it
something you can.
South Jersey chat. Trebuchet. Trebuchet. I don't care.
Trebuchet.
Trebuchet. Yes, this was a big giant fight. So note that is was I always attempt to do large battles because I think they're fun, but whether they're right or wrong, so you know, hey, I don't use battle system. I do it all in D&D scale. So and trolls have
Yeah.
hooked noses. Well, yeah, what kind of trolls though? Ranger Harley. I mean,
Yeah.
does a giant troll have a hook nose? Does a giant two-headed troll have a hook nose?
Yeah.
The regular trolls do, right?
Mhm.
So.
But I think that when you said big battles, I think that's also a play style. Meaning, some DMs you don't want to
Yeah.
run military style campaigns with big assault sieges and stuff like that, and some DMs might revel in it, and there is a big battle every other session. And I'm very guilty here, so I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I apologize
Gaiax
that
does
this
mention
happened to you.
scores of and so these were built, but you're right about that. Ruined ones from ruined old when the Hateful Wars came through and stuff, and they're destroyed, Jason. And that is where we're kind of going in this, where we're going to start uncovering some of these as we go deeper into the Pomars and start doing stuff. With Strength Keeper specifically mentioned, and I had to use it a couple weeks ago in because I loved it. I love the idea of connecting it
Yeah.
in. So all right, here's let's talk about a legendary tower. How's that? Because I have this. This is Tensors Tower. All right.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Rich mentioned Orthblood earlier.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's go to Tensors Tower.
There's a picture of it in the Dropbox folder that I took from the Gord books.
You just put it in?
Yeah, I put it in with all the other ones.
Oh,
that fit with it.
oh, that's good. That's
Oh
good.
yeah.
Here we go. Tensors Castle.
Yep.
Okay, so let me go to this. Let's see. Let me find this under.
It's called Tensors Castle. Yeah,
There it is.
that's from the Gord books,
Awesome.
from
Awesome.
Saga of Old City. Yep. Mhm.
Very, very cool. So you have now obviously this is it different than the Tensor's other maps? Probably once again here because you have level 2. Maybe not. I mean this
That's
keep
probably
seems
the
much more
only the tower keep, but
Yeah.
on the illustration you
Yeah.
see the whole castle, so to speak. And it
Yeah.
is cool because that one is very much that keep design that could work from real medieval castles. So Clyde Caldwell that did the the painting illustration, I'm sure he looked at a lot of real old medieval castles when he made that one. So it kind of, it's not too far-fetched. That it's based
Okay.
on a lot of designs. It's on a very defensible hills. It has a lower ring of defense that on parts of it to defend the actual walls that you can start defending from. Then you can fall back to the walls, and it has a keep inside and towers. So I think it's a very viable medieval design. Yeah.
And it is viable, but it's out in the middle. Technically, it's kind of out of the way, right? It's out here on the near D.
Yeah. It's
so
on the, yeah.
Did Tensor
Mhm.
build this? I don't know. Did Tensor build this or occupy it? I don't know if we ever know
I'm
that.
not sure exactly. I'm not
Yeah. I
sure.
think he
Just that
occupied
he
it.
had it.
He
so, yeah.
occupies it. So then it could be an
Yeah.
ancient defense for the near
Might
deep
have
at
been,
some point.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Overlooking.
he built any of it.
All right, but there are no other ones. There are no other keeps along the near deep, if you notice.
Right, we have the shroud that is kind of on the left there.
Yeah. Right here.
A little bit. The shroud there is, I'm not, it's mentioned in, is it from the Ashes or one other book, I think, but it seems to be more like a lighthouse or something that is kind of fortified or something. So I'm forgot what it was, but it's there. So yeah.
So where is the rotted tower of Vecna? I don't even know where that is.
It's
Oh,
in the
it's
refuge.
yeah, it's in the in
it's a
the
ruin.
Grand Marsh. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the oldest, like, still standing tower, because, like, you could go Ghost Tower of Inverness, but
Yeah.
it's ruined sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
That's supposed to be thousands of years old flan.
Yeah.
Is
We
it
have,
far or not? Oh, there it is, the rotted tower.
There's
Okay.
yeah.
Shemea's Tower in the Bright Desert, but again, that one's kind of locked in this weird time thing
Yeah.
where it's not around.
And we have Veralos on the verge of Rift
And that's
Canyon. That is
built
old
on-
flan. Yeah.
Is that? See, I never understood what is Verlos? Is Verlos
think
a
it's an old-
castle? Is it a?
I'm not sure.
What is
I
it?
think it's an old flan stronghold of some sort. I don't know exactly the size. It's supposed to be there. Veralos. Yeah.
And is it also a ruin?
I
or
think
is it
it's a ruin
intact?
or abandoned
And it
at
has it
least.
as a ruin,
Yeah, it might
yeah.
never been
Abandoned.
attacked or overcome.
Right.
It might just been abandoned and because it might not have been the. Yeah, I don't know.
So more contemporary, I threw in the Silent Tower in Keyland. I think it was built kind of early in the migrations, wasn't it?
According to Rich, Verlos is a
Yeah.
citadel,
Citadel.
so it's bigger.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
And the Silent Tower, meaning Keelland, has been around for an awful long time. So the Silent Tower can have been there for quite some time, even
And that's
if
a
it's kind of
Wizards, because he
modern. Yeah.
asked Wizards Tower specifically.
Yeah. And why do wizards build towers? Anyone? Why do they do that in your campaigns?
Well, probably because they need to, like you were saying
Good
above
question.
before, it's you got to see above everyone, right? You
Yeah.
gotta look down on it.
Yeah, I have a lot of high-level spells and stuff that you have actually line of sight, so you can
Ooh.
do detect
Hmm.
magic and stuff, scrying and stuff like that. Is actually I have line of sight is the range for that. So that way it makes sense to build on hilltops and towers and stuff. So I wanted the wizards to actually get a benefit from building a high tower.
Well, while we're on that subject, let's talk about Rary's fortress.
Yeah.
Yep.
That he actually
So,
moved
he
using
moved it.
spells. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, he had demon help on that.
Mhm.
This fortress is pretty interesting. I was kind of rifling through it again
Yeah.
recently, and he has to get around on the tower. He uses these things called displacer discs, like little short range teleport pads
Uh-huh.
that you step on.
Oh,
And
and
you
then
have to have
you throw it
access to it.
somewhere else and
Yeah,
okay.
so he can get around his own castle really fast, whereas you can't.
Oh,
Then
that's
he
pretty
also
cool.
he also has automatons everywhere, and he has wizard eyes, permanent wizard eyes everywhere. So you can't, it's like having cameras, I guess, on his castle. And then my favorite part, spoiler, the very top of that tower, Anna. You know what Rary has at the top of his tower?
No.
He has a lightning bolt projector.
Oh.
It is 10
Looking for the map.
wands of lightning, like all bundled together. And the rules say it shoots D4 10 hit dice lightning bolts per round.
Oh, that's minor.
So he can just get up there and just shoot, and it's all desert
Yeah.
around his castle.
There's
So
no
he could
good.
So he can
picks.
basically shoot that at
There's
Shoot
upper
lightning
line
bolts.
of sight. So,
he
so
could, yeah.
Yeah.
upper
It,
level.
and it says it has a mechanism. It can 360
Yep.
firing arc.
mhm,
So if you're flying at them, dragons,
Yep.
lightning bolt,
mhm,
on
Yep.
the ground, lightning bolt.
mhm.
Yeah.
That
That's
makes
neat.
it. Yeah.
I was really jazzed when I was reading about that because I
Yep.
forgot about that.
But in the fantasy world, it makes sense if you build something delicate or like substantive that costs a lot of money and stuff. You want to
Right, yeah.
protect it against threats, and if you're someone
Ah,
like
yeah.
Rary, dragons might come and attack you, and other flying
Oh,
creatures.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Hey, Gary. So
And flying carpets.
Rary
yeah.
is still in my campaign
No.
after all these years, just sitting out there in the bright desert. We don't utilize him because my characters, my
just
players are too chicken to go out
existing.
there, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, I've never used them either, but it's
Yeah.
cool to have
So
him there. So
the
yeah.
design of his fortress is pretty meh.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This is like,
Yeah.
it's
simple and
it's
straightforward.
simple
So,
and
yeah,
and it looks like and
but
that's
they are simple fortresses in the real world.
level
So
1.
it's
Yeah.
not a
yeah.
But the
return of
things that are inside of it could destroy you.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and the castle itself is, it's not-
62. All right, let me go to 62.
62. Page 62.
Of course, it's
You
skipping.
know, all Rary has to worry about
There we
is
go.
some desert nomads.
That's
you
the
know.
roof.
Yeah.
That's
They're not
just,
going to take
all
that
right, there
castle.
it is. There's
Yeah,
the
the desert-
M3. M3 is
Yeah.
probably it. Yeah, it is. Like lightning projector
Lightning
M3.
projector.
it looks like one of those things that
Insane.
yeah, look at it. It shoots like
It
my
says
gosh.
in the reading that it weighs 2 tons.
8 and the projector has 100 charges. It can be recharged. Stealing it would present a problem as it weighs over a ton.
Oh,
Tim-
a ton.
Here, if Tim's on, Tim would find a way around it.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, Tim.
Like shrink, right? The shrink spell.
No, but we're not going out there. I'm not going there. There's certain things I'm not going there. Unlike living Greyhawk,
There you
which
go.
killed everyone, I'm not going there. So, yeah.
Clearly, Rary, has a plan. He's got some high power weaponry there. He also
Right.
has an
Yeah.
automaton dragon.
Right.
What's he building up to go, fight?
Is he only trying to hide and build defenses, or do you think
No,
he
he's
builds
not
something
hiding at all.
offensive? Yeah,
I-
he's
It's
gearing
one of
up for
those that
something,
just
yeah.
I just don't know.
Who
I
knows?
don't know.
Who
I
knows?
don't. I was never a fan of it, but so be it. And that's
Yeah.
just it's. He's out there.
The only
Yeah.
thing that outdoes that castle, and I mean, Tensors Castle is pretty defensible now I think about it. All right, so
yeah.
the only thing better than Tensor and Rary's Tower is Mornington's Tower.
Yes.
I don't have a map
now
of
we're
it all.
talking.
There is no map for it.
Exactly, but it's so far up in the remote, up in the mountains
it's
that
up
it's
in the
almost
Alps,
impossible to get. So that means you probably don't need that impressive physical defenses at the spot because it's almost
Do you have it on the
impossible
map,
to
Anna?
get there.
I think
Yeah,
the
it's up in the
reading,
Yatils.
it's
Yeah.
in the Greyhawk city box set. It's
Yeah.
described.
Yeah, describe, but it and
It's a
it's the
symmetrical-
obsidian set.
I think
Like
it's just
close to
two.
internet. I don't even know where it is.
You are a
it just
little
says
bit
in
to no. Go south a little bit, south and
But it's a
east,
symmetrical keep.
east. There you are
I
somewhere
see
around
Temple
there.
Tharasdon.
Yeah, it's somewhere around
Shokanth.
there.
What's that?
Have it disappeared?
Alec
It's not
Bar?
on your version. It's not on your version.
Really?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I added it later for some. No,
Oh.
it should be.
Yeah,
It should be there.
It's 576 maps.
Yeah.
Thank you for that follow, by the way. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
He's
Getting-
right.
We're 95 away from that
Mornington
magic
pushes people
6,000.
out.
Maybe. Yeah, it should be there somewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
It's there. It should be there. Yeah. If you zoom in, it should be there. It should
I
be
don't see it.
heraldry too, and the heraldry should be seen. So Obsidian Citadel. So yeah.
Oh, there it is. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
For some reason, the shield
heraldry.
have disappeared on your.
There's no
yeah.
heraldry there.
Yep.
Okay. So it's midway between Shokanth and Tharasdon. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Did not know that.
So all the way back in Dragon 37, Gary was gearing up for some mass combat rules, and he gave a lot of his personalities as army lists in the pages of Dragon, and one of them was Mordenkainen. And in the text, it says that Mordenkainen, I guess he used to be in the Wild Coast area, but he left and went west. And
Okay.
evidently, in later publications, when he went west, that meant the Atolls.
Okay.
He built his castle from the Alps.
They all have castles. So, what is
Yeah.
Dromage's castle underwater? Is it a castle? What is it?
I've always
don't know.
imagined it as an undersea castle. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a coral castle or something. You know, like a castle in a fish tank, something like that.
There it is.
Yeah.
He didn't build it. As the lore goes, it used to belong to a grand druid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Did not know
Okay.
that either. Thank you for that
That's
information,
That's
Mike.
probably holy in lore right there.
Mhm.
Okay. Very interesting on that. Cool. All right. So you have that, and let me see.
Hierophant, even better. Even bigger.
Well, hierophants are they're the ones.
So the
that
Hierophant
travel
doesn't
about.
Yeah.
need it anymore, right? So Drama's just borrowing it. He's renting it.
Excellent. All right. Let me pop something else up here. Anyone have this? Which is kind of I don't know if this is hokey or
This is
not.
nice.
The castle sites reference.
It should
So-
be somewhere in
Yeah,
one of
so
my
if we go here,
bookshelves here.
we
so-
have Karak Kozel, which is a
Mhm.
dwarven stronghold,
Oh, really?
Cloud Keep, Sentinel's Land. The Dragon's Coffin is just it's a dragon just sealed up. Yeah, but let's check out the dwarven.
Never
one.
owned that.
So
Is that
yeah.
like Den of Thieves? Is that one of them books?
Similar. It's city sites, castle sites. That so.
Oh,
Karak Kozel means spider cavern in Dwarvish. So let's see what it looks like here. And here's the vicinity. And once again, this is not anywhere. Drama just keep once belonged to Hierophants because it's the only one that can. Is Bobby House considered a castle? I would say consider it a fortification, I guess,
fort.
right?
Maybe on the inside.
So it looks like this is built into a mountain somehow, but it's very basic. It's not anything intricate, as you can see. It's a basic map. Wah, wah, wah.
I think when it comes to dwarven cool
It's all
designs, we
inside.
have to go to other parts of fantasy and not the Greyhawk publications.
Yeah, it
because
looks
they
like
kind
it.
of- they're very sad when it comes to that.
But there is this, which is kind of cool if you want a really neat fortification next, and that is the Cloud Keep. If you want a giants in the sky one, so
Oh,
there you go, floating. You want
Nice.
a floating castle? There you go. You have this,
Awesome.
and look, it's once again very basic. It's got
Yeah,
a square
then-
wall too.
then we come down to come on, be a little bit more creative. than that.
Yeah, well, it doesn't appear that we're getting any more creativity than round
No.
and yes.
But it was hard. It's probably back in the day when it was hard to do things like
Yeah.
this in Photoshop. The digital publication
Absolutely.
was not what it is today.
So there you go. It's there and it's possible. Now, so fortification wise, now it's not on my map here because of the this is a 576 map. If you come up here, you'd have running all the way the length of up here. You'd have from here all the way across. You'd have the flare line and the raising line, right? So that's a fortification. So you're gonna have the and you're also gonna have the the road of bones, road of skulls running
Yeah.
along here, and that's a major fortification. You know, so you're gonna have something that's of a grandiose scale, which is not a keep or a fortress. So floating wizard
Yeah.
tower called Spinning Cloud near Northern Village in the Great Kingdom. Really, is that an Ivid? Did not know
It's
that.
got a
Dale.
lot of castles.
It
Yeah.
might
Under the
be,
Storm Giants
yeah.
Castle was done in '79 by Judges Guild. That is true. There's also a couple of giant castles done in Goodman Games has one, and I believe there's a couple in the Dragon too. There's one. There's a Cloud Giant one in Dragon Magazine, Dungeon Magazine, if I recall correctly. Yep, Ivid, according to Assure. So if you want something that's more of a fortification, you got a lot of spells. All the skulls are imbued with nasty spells, and it's just so there you go. Something that's really disgusting. The road of the Skull Road. So, okay. Anna, want to go over some more of your picks here? Some of your
Yeah, sure. We have some. I can tell. You have the one that is called Glimming Hus. It's there's
Okay.
like four different ones of it. So take any of them. That is kind of cool. That's a fortified manor, so to speak. This is a medieval
Wow.
house in southern Sweden, and and it's one big block of house, so to speak, but it's built with very, very thick stone walls. It's built in the 10th century or 9th century. It's around 1000, and it's built. That's the opening. So it only has one door, and those
Wow.
arrow slits at the bottom are 10 feet. The walls are 10 feet thick. And they can be sealed off from the inside.
Holy
as
jeez.
well. And it's built, and it has and it's probably more than 100 feet tall. So it's like 5 stories tall, and each story is like more than, it's like 10 feet. so it's kind of, more than 10, like 12 feet ceiling height in several of the
Well,
floors.
how many years? You said this is 1,000 years old?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
1,000 years old.
Because
Yep.
is that a cross on this right here?
No, that's actually just the wood on the outside.
Okay, I was wondering
So, yeah,
if that
yeah,
was the
and
Christianity era or not.
No, it's not. It's just the
Okay.
building style. It's built when Christianity came the first time to Sweden around
Right.
year
Okay.
1000. So it's Sweden, and it's southern Sweden. So they were probably Christians or early Christians, the one that built it
There's a
originally.
distance.
Yeah, and go back to that one you had before, because there's a couple of features there that are
This
cool.
one. Okay, sure.
That building up there, at first, when I was there, I thought it was like the bathroom, but I realized it's not smart to put the bathroom just over the empty door. That's kind of not a smart idea. And you can also see that one window there is bigger. That was actually the loading crane. So they had a block and towel with like a chain or ropes, so they can hurl heavy goods and equipment and furniture and whatever they wanted up to the 3rd floor,
That's pretty.
and without opening the door and stuff, and they can hurl goods with have to carry it up the stairs.
Yeah, from
Yeah,
top.
so they had they had a kind of a big kind of crane installation and stuff inside there that they could hurl up big equipment and stuff up there. So that was part of the thing. And also they have that, you see that the windows get bigger the higher up you go, so to speak. So the beginning they're just arrow slits at the lowest floor, and then they're a little bit bigger, and then they become real windows up at the top floor where the master lit. Yeah. There you see, it was, they had a couple of the other houses there are built much later. So they were back in the days, those were old wooden structures that the servants and slaves or whatever they had back in the day, the serfs and stuff, that the lower servants, and there was probably like a tiny little village around the house originally, but they had a moat and a drawbridge that was part of the original design, and it's still there to this day. So yeah.
So I'm doing a Gary thing here. So we already did an Iron Gate, Legends of Lore. We should have a Spine Castle, Legends of Lore.
There you go.
Should.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we.
Yeah. And they were mosquito breeding grounds. Yes, there are lots of mosquitoes in that type of climate. They're terrible
but that's
mosquitoes.
not thought about, right? You know.
No, but there was mosquitoes anyway. There's meaning up in those latitudes of the world, they're full of lakes and whatever. And they still have tournaments every year in Medieval Week outside of it. So it's kind of really, really cool. I've seen one of these tournaments.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. They have tournaments just outside, very fantasy-esque, so to speak. They're fantastic. So
sorry, what's the translation on that place again? Gleaming House?
Gleaming House. That means that the house that is the shining house.
Shining house. Okay,
yeah,
I didn't want to assume.
House. Yeah. Gleaming. Okay. Gleaming. It was probably the name of the family that built it or had it later on in the house. It was probably a different name originally, but it got this name in later times, so to speak. And it was not the Swedes who built it; it was the Danes, because this was Danish back in those times.
Yeah.
So it was a Danish family. So yeah.
What's cool about this is that Miniature Building Authorities kind of hit the nail on the head with the roof. What is the roof made of?
It's a modern roof now that is made out of burnt clay. So it is kind of these tiles, modern day tiles. But back in the day, they probably had slate. So they cut this slate rock that is in certain areas and then they cut that into thin slates, so to speak, and that was a natural thing. So there were probably a slate roof originally on it, and then it's been replaced with the more modern tiles, burnt clay tiles that we have in more modern, like modern barns and stuff like that. But back in the day, it was probably a dark gray or black slate roof on top of it.
So my question to Gary out there was: Is Iron Gate the biggest fortress in Greyhawk? What's the
It's
biggest fortress?
probably one of the big ones. So and you can say there's some cities that probably built more like fortress too.
Well, I think Iron
and
Gate definitely
and
is, isn't
Iron
it?
Gate fits that bill. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely have Iron Gate as one of the big ones, so to speak. And one other that often overlooked that I think was built as a fort is Admont Fort too.
Oh,
It's
really?
probably built as a fort in the middle of the Near Div. It's my guess. I haven't my simply that's one of the ones that are kind of fort-like, so to speak. And Crit Wall is another one that is probably built like a bastion too, especially in the later years. Now it's built
Very
as
cool.
a and I have Critwall, Molag, and Freeborough are all based on old in my campaign. They're original Urflan hill forts. So they're Flan hill forts from back in the day. They're kind of hills over a flat landscape. So the Flans build a hill fort. They built like a simple wall around the top of the hill and created a hill fort. And then when the and they were there, and then when the Great Kingdom and the Origin came, they took over the hill fort and modified them and made them into settlements, so to speak. But the Flan kind of kept one that became Molag. And Freeborough is the one that was, and in my campaign, Freeborough was actually the old Ferrond. That's old. That fortress was the
Where's
Flan
Freeborough
fortress
again?
in the middle of Furundi.
Oh, it's middle of
Yeah,
Furiandi.
yeah, it's a free borough, and yeah, it's in the middle there. You have it in the on the right hand of
I see
under
it.
all the shields there. There you go. Yeah, in the middle of Furundi.
Okay.
So Freeborough, that is actually the old Ferrond in my campaign. That was
Oh, okay.
yeah, that was an old Urflan fortress. That was a hill fort. That was and they were not taken by the Great Kingdom and Aridians. They surrendered and pledged a limited loyalty. That's why they are now not part of Furundi, because they always pledge a certain allegiance or non-combat or stuff like that. So they didn't fight the Erdi when they came, so that's why they got a special treatment. So that's just the history of it, so to speak. So they're now a city that is like a little enclave within Furundi.
So
yeah.
this is not impressive in the least. This is an older Build a Master Crafter deal, but this building represents
Yeah.
two. Here's Warmark. I'm going to show you a picture of that, and
Yeah.
because that was in my Shieldlands mini campaign. 1 second here. Here is what's
Yeah, the Erdi was badasses. They were castle builders beyond anything in early years of the Great Kingdom.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that
There's
looks
Warmark.
fantastic.
Yeah, so that
Yep.
that's now that you know, that's an older keep, a hand done one by Bill, but you
Yeah.
know, and that's on the
Yes.
defense of the river there.
Yeah.
But this one's also used for. I currently have used this same model, and where's the pick for Hearthguard Tower there,
Yeah.
Rich? There's Hearthguard Tower when it was taken over by giants, frost giants,
Yeah,
in a previous
I like
adventure.
a lot of his design of the keep, and especially I like the stairs that leads up to the main door, because you always try to have difficult stairs that are difficult to
Yeah.
go up on, so,
Right.
so because that is a way to make sure that no one just rams the door through, so to speak. So
Yeah.
so you always put the door in an awkward position. Often what they had was stairs that went in 90-degree angle, and then you had to go in a little bit and stuff. So they had all these kind of ways, and you even saw in Gleaming Hus, you saw that he also had a difficult set of stairs to lead into the door, and that was a way to protect the door from being broken into easily. So I think he that was smart. He designed it well there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, these are you know, as we get more and more into the 3D prints and stuff, it's
Yeah.
notice in the background that red is very similar to what was on the other was
Mhm.
on
Yeah.
Gleaming Hus, you know, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
noted that.
Yeah.
So wanted to show you
And
that.
also his keep that didn't have any arrow and no windows or openings at the lowest level either.
Right.
That's another good sign
Yep.
of wise castle design, so to speak. You limit the openings to the big openings are up on top.
All right, I want everyone's opinion because I have this really big very small graph paper, and this keep I made when I was like 12, 13 years old on this paper, and it filled the whole thing. And I'm thinking to myself, that's so impractical. So the main Orderville headquarters, Wales Castle, I always figured, what would it look like out there? It's on a delta, and I always came up with this. I think it would look like a little like Mont Saint Michel. What do you think?
Yeah, Mont Saint Michel is interesting. That is a stronghold on a cliff that sticks out of the water. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of Renaissance more than old medieval, I think.
Okay.
I don't know exactly when it came, but most of the buildings when I was there looked more like Renaissance than old medieval. But it still the defensive properties are very medieval in its origin, so to speak. So it's built to be not impregnable but hard to get to.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yes, the place where you build it on with the natural moat with the water around it, and those beaches are treacherous to walk on. There's quicksand, and you can't. It's almost impossible to go around it. And that area is also very tidal,
Yeah.
which is part of it. That's why you can go across that road at low tide. And then in high tide, it's several, like 10,
Right.
15 feet underwater.
Well,
so yeah.
That's my question. That is, would there be tides here?
Yeah,
I don't see why there wouldn't be, right? In a
no,
delta
there will
area?
there will be tides, but I don't think that the Azure Sea doesn't have any major tides.
Major tides, okay.
Because it's not part of the big ocean, so to speak. So,
Okay.
So what you want is like Grindep Bay and other areas that are part of a big ocean, but it's a bay or an inlet from a big ocean. That's where you get the biggest tides.
So where we live, I live off in South Jersey, and the Delaware
Yeah.
River is
Mhm.
is tidal, and
Yep.
all the creeks that actually flow into it, the tides
Mhm.
are almost 2 feet high
Yep.
in those back
Mhm.
areas, which I'm
Yep.
thinking, wow, that's pretty,
Well,
for
you would definitely be able to get tides of 2, 3, 4 feet,
Okay,
but
all
you
right.
will not get tides that
Oh.
are 10 or 15
Right,
feet
right,
that you
okay.
get in some areas, like up in Canada and even in parts of the English Channel and stuff. You have really high tides that are like 10
Okay.
over 10 feet.
So that was just
Yeah.
my question was
Mhm.
on
Yeah.
that, if this actually made sense to have that as my, I don't want to steal anyone's artwork, but
Yeah.
I like the idea of going to
Yeah.
this instead of a
Mhm.
big
Oh, yeah.
square
Yeah.
castle, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and I
Keep
think
walled.
Mont Saint Michel, the oldest buildings are probably very old. They've probably
Right.
been there since maybe not Stone Age, but pre-medieval age. But most of the buildings that we see today are late medieval to early Renaissance, I think, and later. But it's the origins are definitely medieval, because the planning and stuff of it are medieval. Yeah.
Let me show this too. So this is another bill. You've all seen this one. We're Mongers Tower. I'll show this one.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's an interesting.
Nice.
We have almost triangular round with triangular kind of, or is it square? No.
No,
These
it is
three or
it is circular with
circle in the
three.
middle
Yeah.
with three. Okay, but
Yeah.
that's really cool, because I think that's
Wizard
that's
Tower?
a creative design.
What's that?
Yeah.
Is that like a wizard's tower?
So no, this is Garth Warmonger, the half-orc fighter cleric, and so Alan said to Bill, I want the highest piece that we have, and of course Bill, spent how
Yeah.
many months making this for him. Put the fire on top, put his wyvern pen, which he flies in a wyvern around, and so that's what we got. So I mean, it's a
Yeah.
cool piece.
Nice.
It's but that was I think that's pretty well defended.
Yeah,
Because
I
of the
think
height on it
it's
and all.
super
So
cool, and some crenellations on top, and
yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
So that's another
Yeah.
from scratch craft that we use in the game to represent a tower. And then going through the last one I have is the Swain's Tower, which is the Tower of
Oh.
Alana
Yeah.
in Altamira, which has the has the
I
crenellations.
like the creative version of crenellation on top. They look really cool.
Yeah, and that was it. We wanted the arrow fletchings to represent a lot. And you notice they're on the
Yeah.
side ones too. They're on the little two
Yeah,
side
but
towers
it's
on both
cool
sides.
because it is a version of crenellation that is still kind of functional, but still look different. I think it's
Okay.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so that, and those are the ones that we have in my game that we, that are one piece. They're big towers. So, and once again, are they realistic? I don't know. Are they fantasy
Some-
good for
some-
fantasy setting? Sure.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
degree, because there are various versions of crenellations that look all sorts of weird. So I think it's
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, where do you want to go?
Let's talk about Adlerweg.
Okay, down in now we're down Sea Princess or
Princess.
south of
Sea
it. Yeah.
Princess.
Yes, and that is in the Gauntlet and the Sentinel Gauntlet.
In Berghoff.
Right.
Yeah.
I still have never ran those modules. I
Really?
intend to do it someday.
Where is it?
Yeah, and like, I think it's in the second one, the Gauntlet. You actually there's a
Whoops.
siege. There's a whole
Yeah.
scenario where you have to defend this castle, keep or whatever from the bad
I'm
guys.
looking for it on the map
It's
here.
down there. Go south.
It's
Yeah. Berghoff
southwest.
is somewhere down there. So yeah.
There it is. Oh, yeah,
Mountains.
it's down here.
It's in the mountains.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Way remote. Yeah. So, Sentinel Gauntlet are cool, and I recommend them. They just missed it. If you watch an old Wall of Fame event, we were discussed to go to Wall of Fame, but they didn't make the cut. So, Saragrim helped.
I think there's a lot of thought put
Okay.
into the module. Graham Morris, these are the UK mods. Maybe he's interjecting his knowledge of Europe into their.
Give me
I
a sec
have
here,
that
and let me
feel.
see if I can pull this up real quick.
And also, Anna, there's some heraldry in that module.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you had
I've
incorporated.
taken
or not.
the old Berghoff and Gauntlet. Yes, I've
Okay.
taken the old Berghoff. It was not colored; it was black and white. So I
Right,
colored
right.
it afterwards. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure you had got
Yep.
that.
I saw that, so I grabbed it.
There it
Yeah,
is.
there you go. Mhm.
There it is. All right,
Really
cool.
cool design. Yep.
Well, that looks pretty well defended. That reminds me of the top of Minas Tirith,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah,
So.
and Minas Tirith is a really cool castle city
Yeah.
design that I
You want to
think
talk
is
about
awesome.
unbelievable maps? The Minas Tirith and Minas Ithil maps they have from from Lord of the
Mhm.
Rings.
Yeah.
The old wow, those things are
Yeah,
impressive.
I think that's something to aspire to in fantasy.
That's a good pick, though. I
castle
mean,
design.
do you know who drew that?
I don't know.
Who
We
does
have
the
to
artwork in
look
that?
into
Yeah,
the
that's pretty
module
cool.
and see what we can.
Yeah. Is there another one in here, Mike, or is that it on the picture?
I
There's another angle
can't-
for it. The upper gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
That's from the top, I think, when
Yeah.
you have easy entry.
Pretty cool.
The only thing I don't like is the door seems to be very easy to just break into, so to speak. So, but
There's
might
something
be the-
going on with that castle about. I think it's supposed
There's
to
the
defend a
heraldry.
pass or
that's the
something.
heraldry. Yep. hmm
That there's some. Yeah, that's it. I think there's some kind of pass that it guards.
hmm
So
Right,
the
right.
door might be this under.
Yeah, it's a secret.
way.
And often, if they didn't
Pete Young,
expect
thank you,
any
Costa.
significant enemies to come that way, then they didn't need to build elaborate defenses. So, yeah.
Who made the map? That's Anna. Come on,
Yeah,
Anna
it's
Meyer.
mine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
made
Anna's
the
map. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's that one. So Monk, that is so. If we go to this map here, this is the World of Greyhawk map. It's 576. Now this is custom. Has my custom edits on it, but it's freely available for everyone.
Yep.
There's Anna's Patreon. You go to Greyhawk maps at Greyhawk.
AnnaBmeyer.com. Hang on a second. I'm going
yes,
to
so-
put the link for that.
No
for you.
problem. I welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
This is the Greyhawk of Yes, absolutely. Good to see you, and thank you for the follow too. So, but this map is, this is the World of Greyhawk from the original. If you know about the Greyhawk setting, it's all I play. And my campaign's 41 years old, and it's been doing maps for 30 years almost.
Well, yeah, I've worked on that one for over 20. So
Yeah.
and it kind of started. So I worked on mapping. I started in as a hobby almost 30 years ago, and I've done it 10 years now as a professional.
Easy.
So, Monk, if you want more information about Greyhawk, I'm gonna give you a couple things here. So, I'm gonna give
Cool.
you
Yeah.
the Cannon
Awesome.
Fire Discord. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's where there's a lot of great discussion. Greyhawk
Mhm.
Online Discord, you just go to Greyhawk Online's website, Greyhawk Online, to get into that one, and then the virtual Greyhawk Con Discord for the
Earth
con that's
Journal
coming
and
up.
stuff.
Woo.
Yeah.
There you go. So, yes. So, good one, Mike. I always love these adventures. The UKs are all good. I mean, like you said, Ravager of Time is one of my all-time favorites. it is a wonderful, wonderful adventure. And they did a good job with the UK ones. It's really. But it looks like Alderete Keep is guarding this pass heading somewhere. It is guarding
Somewhere.
guarding
The coast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the kind of the sneaky back door into Berghof.
I didn't realize it was this far south. I never
Yeah,
even thought about that.
it's one of the most remote locations in a way, most hidden away. Look, it's like Valley of the Mage and Berghof are some of these kind of really tucked away little realms that are hard to get to, and also Malden, or you have
Okay.
Melkot is another one of these kind of hidden away realms.
Yeah. Oh, well, yes. And
But there you have
there's
Hoof
Melkot.
marches and the Tors, so it's like a combination of mountains and wetlands that kind of hides it away.
Speaking of Melkot, all right.
Yeah.
Note, I changed what I'm doing on Sunday. Instead of doing the Pomarge and Prince Valgulic update, I'm doing a Greyhawk City update because that's where I'm playing the next couple weeks. And note that we're going to be going to Malden's updates on his map, which I finally got for Greyhawk City, and discussing a lot of the
Cool.
places that
Yeah.
were added. A
Mhm.
lot of places, especially in Clarksburg and the Artisan Quarter, that were added in.
Added in Living Rock Journal.
Absolutely. By Malden. They're Malden's
Yep.
locations. In fact, he's got one that's the home of Malden in Greyhawk on the map. So
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, he
and
does.
he made his own house in Greyhawk.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did. Yes, he
No
did.
one else can do that no more. So he's exclusive. He's the only player who
How
made
did
that.
Dennis get all that?
Yeah, damn.
influence?
He's
'Cause-
that makes his
Because
he's
right
famous.
place, right time.
Yep. Mhm.
So, okay. Where are we going here? That was a good one, Mike. So, Anna, I know there's a couple of your maps we have not discussed here. On
Well,
this,
we have we have
let's do that.
some
we got some time here
let's
still.
see here what we have. I put up. We have with Spine Castle we mentioned. We have Fort.
We're gonna make Gary do a whole episode of Spine
Yeah,
Castle.
let's
That's
get
so.
it.
Yeah, we have
yes.
one that I think was worthy of mention
Okay.
from the Greyhawk Wars, and that's Redoubt or Redoubt or whatever how you pronounce it. That is just near Shendel in Forindi.
Oh, you
One of
okay?
the flare lines.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I thought you had a
North of between Shendel and Crockport.
Yes.
That I think it's one to mention. It's one of these. And then there you have the second
Redoubt.
Spine Castle too, which is kind of I should remove that one. So, but
Yes.
it's actually I think it's actually added. It's on someone else's map that I used. I forgot which one. But
Well, Crockport's taken over during the Greyhawk Wars.
yeah, so they built Redoubt is the defense in between, so to speak. It's the one that defends the road to Chendel.
Blackmore Castle.
There is no. I think it was added in the during the by Carl Sargent in the Marklands. That's where it's mentioned first, I think, and maybe that's the
Mhm.
only place it's mentioned. But I want to see it as one of these pure military bastions, so to speak, not a fancy palace for a noble or any of that stuff. So it's one of these pure military installations. As a Chendel itself is a constructed city that is more kind of a showpiece in some that and have it has defenses. Oh, there's another one. This is an interesting.
yeah.
We can discuss, because often when you have
I'll
you
get
just
yours.
have a
Yeah,
wall and
definitely.
that's it, so to speak, and nothing. But this is actually a schematic of what came to be in the Romans started
Yeah, I was going to
using
say it
this.
looks Roman.
Yeah, it's Romans and the Celts used it, the Vikings and others used very similar. This is the time from the Iron Age and onwards, these type of defenses. So you have, but you can say if you want to beef up your defenses, then you can say that the 1, 2, and 3 there, that's the city wall, or it could be the castle wall, or it could just be the wall of a fort like this. And then you have like one big moat that's number 6, and
Right.
then number 8 is it's an outer moat, and then number 9 there you have these kind of sharpened sticks or like poles that stick out sharp to stop cavalry from getting over and stuff like that. So it's basically to make sure that cavalry charges cannot happen across, so to speak, and it stops. So you have to kind of climb down into it. And what they did was that they put their waste and their whatever, meaning all their leftovers in these kind of things.
That's-
Yeah. so they threw
I
that
had to
into the,
reek.
so you had to get through all that, so to speak, and they led all the city sewage. There you have what the city walls look like. This is city walls from I forgot which city
Look
in
at
Europe, but
how small that person on with that
yeah,
hawk is up top.
yeah,
That tells
yeah,
you how high. That's got
yeah.
to be up 50 to
Yeah,
100
yeah, oh,
feet.
yeah. That's the no. Sorry, that's the city walls of Visby in it's an international heritage site.
Okay.
So it's
Wow.
a medieval city wall that are intact because it was they were surrounded twice during medieval times, but they were never conquered. So this, and they never rebuilt. So the city walls are actually still there. It's a World Heritage site. It's very well worth a visit. It's a medieval city with its medieval city walls still there. And it's, well, and that's another example of, this is pre, we looked at the hill forts before, and this the star forts. This is what a fortification or city or big fort would look like pre gunpowder, like in medieval eras. And like Castle Hart, you saw these huge bastions and these kind of sharp angles for cannons. These you have like small towers every like 60 or 100 feet, so you can shoot with bows in between. And you, because you didn't use cannons to clear the walls, you used bows and crossbows. And that's why you need to have them way more dense, so you had them more often in order, so each tower needed to defend the next one, so to speak.
So Anna, do you know what this is? But if you stretch these sections other out, it's Greyhawk City.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, there
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
This is
Almost
the Malden map,
any,
everyone, by
yeah,
the way.
yeah, almost any city worked that way. So yeah, so the city defenses, but and often what they had was they had dual defenses. So you had like a lower wall, and you had a first moat, a lower wall, and a bigger moat, and then the bigger wall inside. So you had dual defenses, so to speak, at least. And then you had to keep inside the city. So you had 3 layers of defense that the enemy had to
We'll
go
discuss
over.
this a lot more on Sunday night. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's what it reminds me of, that section there.
Yeah,
I was like,
and
oh.
then you section off so this is the schematics, but most cities, they had actually 2, and sometimes there are 2 moats, 2 walls, and then you have a central keep, at least 1, so to speak. And each gatehouse is a fortress in itself, that is self-contained in a way that they can fight from it, they can seal themselves off in each gatehouse and use. And I don't have, I need to redo the sketches I made of the actual gatehouse, how they work, and beefed up, because the gatehouse, basically it's like 2 gates. So you have an outer gate where you have a drawbridge outside over the moat. So you pull the drawbridge up against the gate, and then the gate, you have doors and you have bars that goes down. And then what they had in powerful ones, you had an inner drawbridge that you opened up and closed against the second gate, and in between you had like a deep pit that was like 100 feet or 200 feet deep, and then you had murder holes and stuff in between. So you had to get yourself through the drawbridge, through the gate, through the bars, then across the big pit under the murder holes, and then through a set of doors and drawbridge and gates and all that in. So it was almost a lot of, in movies and stuff, you get the sense that the gates were the weak spot. That's not the case. The gates were often, if they were closed, they were tougher than the walls. So it was more often easier to break the walls and go over the walls than it was to break through the gates. So the gates were often very impregnable. They were almost impossible to get through.
So I went over to the wall of Highlander Castles from Assure that they put up there, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Really a cool area there. Oh, thanks, Patrick, for that gift sub.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry if I nerd in too much about
No!
castle design and stuff like that, but
No.
it's kind of fun. And if you go to Europe, you should definitely go. France, Spain, Germany, Britain, and are full of wonderful castles to go to. And some of the best ones are unfortunately now in Syria. They're in Lebanon and Turkey. There are some of the best ones in former Palestine, in back after the Crusades and stuff like that. There are some of the most fantastic ones, and they're hidden away in Sicily, they're hidden away in Italy, and they're hidden away in North Africa to Tunisia and Algeria, and Morocco has some wonderful ones. So it's fantastic. So Syria has some of the coolest. Aleppo had one of the coolest ones. It's a whole city on a hill, so to speak. And Masada in Israel is breathtakingly cool. So and look at the ramps the Roman built 2,000 years ago. It's still there.
Yeah.
Still to this day they must millions of tons of or whatever, or like hundreds, thousands and thousands of tons of dirt they piled up over months to get up to that big one. So you have lots of different ideas. You have keeps, hill forts, castles, and yeah, there's so many cool variants you can work with.
So this one we didn't discuss yet. Gruffness.
No, that's my local castle where I grew up. Yes,
really?
This is like this is 10 miles away from where I grew up.
Oh, cool.
So this is my local little castle that I went to when I was like 5 years old in an excursion in preschool or something like that. First time I didn't know what it was, but
cool.
Later I studied it a bit and went to it. It's the early is built in medieval times, and it burned 3 times, and it's kind of a funny story. The early bits are built in the 1200s, something like that, so late medieval, and then they built first it was it was built to fight against the Danes, because that was the western parts of Sweden where I grew up was the borderlands between Sweden and Denmark at the time. So the Danes came and invaded, and the Swedes were kind of holding it up. It was the frontier of Sweden back then. And then so the Swedes built this originally, and it's on a little island in a lake, or like a partial island, so to speak. And so there's like a narrow going out, and there was surrounded by walls and stuff. And then in the beginning, it saw some Danish fighting and back and forth, but then it became firmly in the hands of Swedes. And then one of the there was like the granddaughter of one of the original owners. She was so ruthless, and she ruled the whole area, and she was so ruthless against everybody. So someone declared a curse against her and say, this castle will burn every 100 years, according to the folklore. And it actually burned in 1638, 1738, and 1838.
No way.
Yeah, it burned 3 times. So I think that the myth is actually, but it burned every 100 years.
That's
for 3 times over. Yeah, and then they didn't actually renovate it after it burned in 1738. Said they didn't burn it or renovate it afterwards. So it used to have real towers. You can see part of the tower in the background, and those windows and stuff were after the last renovation, so to speak. So it was actually originally a medieval castle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm glad we got that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Looks like
so
Anna,
that was
you did your homework on this. I'm glad I opened this up. You know, and
so you can actually look. There is one that's called Karlstens fastning. There's 3 of them. Yeah. That one. This is an interesting. This is one of Sweden's most ambitious military projects. This is built. It's projected late 1500s, built in the early 1600s. So it is just when cannons and gunpowder was early on. So it has part medieval design and part is modern cannon-based design, so to speak, and it's built on a hill on the west coast of Sweden to defend against the Danes primarily. So yeah, exactly, the damn Danes. Yeah. So it's one of these, and you can see one of there is part of the central bastion is still kind of medieval in a way that, and you have this stuff, but you have these kind of flat areas built around it. There's another picture of the same thing there. Oh yeah. So you have flat areas around it, and that was the new thing that came with the age of the cannon. So you have these kind of flat areas around it where you can actually you put cannons on there, and you can move the cannons around with using horses to wherever they wanted to be. Now they modernized it and added later buildings and stuff on it, but there's still parts of it that are almost medieval. You have crenellation and an inner wall under it, and then you have like a thick wall more on top of it that was actually originally was flat area behind it, so you can put cannons there on mass, so to speak. And then you had a central keep where they changed out the old arrow slits and stuff. That keep is 100 feet wide. So this is a big place. That thing is half, it's like 6-7, almost a kilometer from one end to the other. So that keep had big cannons in it, like 25-pound big muscle loaded cannons and stuff, and they rebuilt it so over time, so to speak. And then it became a prison in the late 17, early 1800s. And it was a prison until the 90. Yeah, so it became literally a dungeon, so to speak. But Sweden had 2 of these huge coastal defenses on the west coast. And there is one, and then there is or 3 actually, and there's one, just show one when we go to the canon era, so to speak. And that's one, there's the first one they call Alvsborgs Fastning. Yeah, there's 2 of them. There's 2, yeah, that one, yeah. And here we have, this one is built 100 years later. And now we moved away from the medieval into the age of the cannon and the gunpowder. Right. The central keep is no longer as prominent. The walls are much lower and they are fully flattened, so you can move cannons around, and you have these kind of bastions, and it becomes that star shape way more than the old one. So you have these kind of bastions where you put cannons on that can actually shoot along the walls. And the crenellation is all gone. It's all cannons and rifles now.
It almost has that star shape in there.
Yeah, exactly, because that each bastion, and you can also see that you have lower level with lower walls. Hey, you can see from the top, yeah. So you get the star shape, and that's because you have these lower sections where you had infantry, and then you had the higher section where you had artillery on top. So the infantry was there to protect the walls from, and so on, and they could shoot. So they assisted each other, so to speak. And these bastions could shoot. So one was taken, the ones left and right of it could shoot at it, so to speak. And the central keep and stuff was downplayed. It was all cannons on the walls, so to speak. And this was the fort that guarded the entry into the port of Gothenburg and back in the day. So yep. So this is the fort that protected Gothenburg. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. And look at that. I mean,
yeah, Kalmar Slot is interesting. That Kalmar Slot started as a medieval kind of fort that way, and then it turned into a little bit of this, but it was also a king's showpiece. It was a king's fancy palace as well as a fort. So the 2 I've shown late here are military fortresses through and through. There was no glamour, no fancy balls or anything. It was just a military installation, period. And then you have Kalmar is an example of something that is both a royal house that he lives in and so on, that is defensible. So you have halfway through, and then you have like Versailles and stuff like that were purely there for the king to entertain and impress, not as a military installation. And also you have the whole scale from Versailles to something that, like the Redoute, for instance, that might only be military installation. So under the acronym Castle, the name of Castle, I can see anything, the whole range of stuff can be under there, so to speak.
So tonight was a mix of fantasy and real and theoretical and some ideas. And note, same here. Note that there is a lot that is really lacking in Greyhawk where castle design goes into play. You got some, right? But obviously, right from the beginning when we talked about Castle Heart, it's probably errored wrong. It's probably, but yeah, from the look at. Yeah. So, what is that burning in the background of From the Ashes? Do we ever know?
It's that cursed Swedish castle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. It's the cursed one.
It looked like Tensors, but a bit too. But I don't know what I never really said.
Well, no, I think I read something in one of the dragons that it is one of the keeps or the castle along the Wild Coast. That was depicted on the first box set. It's the same keep that was depicted in the first box set. And then on From the Ashes, it's the same keep and the same knights, but now they're undead and the keep is on fire. I think that's the story.
Cool. So note that hopefully we give you some ideas for this discussion tonight, some things you can do, some books that you can refer to, You know, we got 4 of them. You know, we got the Castle Heart book, we got the Engineering Castles book by Castles and Crusades, and we also got these 2 as well.
Yeah, and
that
we can
exist.
add the Palladium guide if you can get it somewhere. It might be
Plus, there's the 5th
somewhere.
edition book too out, the Castles
Yeah.
book as well. That came
Yeah.
The
out.
first edition, Dean's Guide, had some good castle construction
That's true too.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That is
stuff in it.
yes. It
Oh,
did.
yeah. This castle's
building
guide
costs.
it's
And that's the
excellent.
upgraded
Yeah,
version. of
that
it.
is
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
This whole series of books, get them at PDF. They're all fantastic.
Yeah, because they're an arm and a leg
Yep.
for these.
Yeah.
of
Yeah, but
any,
PDFs is like $9.99 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think on drive-through RPG.
Absolutely.
Nothing
So,
else. Yeah.
well, Monk, you should. There's an entire community of Greyhawk that you're probably not aware of. If you joined
Yeah.
it, I'm not sure if you joined the Discord, but there is an entire community. We have our own con coming up in a month and a half, which I'm
Yeah,
going to
and-
talk about in a second. So,
Yeah, Gary mentioned Farlanst. I put that on the map. Farlanst Castle. It's
the
on the
ruins
map.
of St. Cargus. Very
Yep,
cool.
it's on the map.
Another
just wanted to
Legends
tell
of
that.
Lore we need to have on Death Knights. Gary, you got a lot. You got a lot. Well, now you know now. Stick around, Monk, for these announcements, and hopefully we'll help you out with some of this stuff. So, cool discussion tonight. You know, once again, it went in a direction I'm very happy it went because I learned a lot about.
Yeah, I hope we could inspire people
Yeah.
to look at castles and fortifications and stuff in some new
Yeah.
interesting ways for their campaigns.
While
Absolutely.
you're slating a Spine Castle episode, you might also want to slate a Mar Castle episode someday.
Yes, if we could get Rob
Yep,
Kuntz.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well,
wouldn't
we
hold
have to
my
talk.
breath.
We have to talk about it anyway because it's one of these kind of cool locations that are
Bring in
iconic for
Eric
the setting
Mona or
and
something.
yeah.
Yes. So we'll discuss Eric Mona in a second as well, and shout outs and all. So, Mike, what is anything going on with you?
Oh, just let's see. I ran a one shot in the Sea Princes recently. That was a lot of fun. Some Yanti and some stuff around Fort Blackwell. Let's see. I got Rich's game coming up here pretty soon. More running around in the jungle. And keeping my eyes on the horizon for Gary Kahn. Getting jazzed for that as people start talking about it more.
Yeah, yeah. I mean Gary Kahn is you know, next March, but yeah, my gosh, you know, we're all
Yeah.
signed up to go. So looking forward to that.
Yep.
I'm also, you know, trying to figure out what I'm going to do there too. So how I'm going to balance it all.
Well,
We'll figure it out. So,
Yeah.
you'll get as soon as you get the lay of the land, you might figure out. You
Yeah.
know, maybe the first time, but then the next time will be better. But I don't know.
But the cool thing is that I'm going to be there in person, and it's going to be awesome.
Right.
I agree 100%. Looking forward to a fun time. So, Anna, what's up with you? We got a big show Friday too, right?
Yeah, exactly. We have the fantasy mapping show on Friday. So yeah, and with the cool guests and all that too. So
And
Yeah,
note
see-
note the following too. And where is it? Oh my gosh, where's my
yeah, you have
where's
to.
my banner for that?
Yeah.
See, I got stuff everywhere right now. So this show is Alyssa's stoked because Jared Blando is his
Yeah.
name. His stuff is I got his maps. It's pretty.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome, and he'll be our special guest on Friday
Mhm.
night.
And the focus will be setting maps. We go from dungeon maps to I think the next most iconic D&D map, and that's the setting map, the kind of the world map, and talk a little bit about different styles, different ideas. What's the purpose of a setting map and stuff like that. And you might be surprised of some of the purpose of the setting map. That is something that most gamers don't realize, but there are some interesting purposes with the setting map, and most settings come with one. So yeah.
Monk, I'm too busy to have my own Discord. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. I just got too much going on. So I have, I'm on the Cannon Fire Discord.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the Greyhawk Online Discord,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm on the virtual Greyhawk Con Discord, which is used mostly during the con and has some special
Mhm.
things going on it. So there you go.
Yep.
I can't link the Greyhawk Online one because it's the link expires immediately. So you got to go on the Greyhawk Online website to link to that. So let me find this fancy mapping show. I can't find it. I can't find the shout out because I have stuff on both my hard drives. So Fantasy Mapping Show is once again is on. We have it on Friday night at 8 p.m. Myself, Elissa Faden, and Anna Meyer. It's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
And here is where it. Oh my gosh. I usually have everything that for the tonight in my but I guess I didn't step up this time and I missed. Here we go. Found it finally. Yay! Episode 3. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. My familiar. She wants lots
Yes,
of
Fantasy
cheese.
Mapping Show with Jared Blando as a special guest will be
Mhm.
this. Yes, no problem, man, and thank you. Will be this Friday, and that'll be the third stream in 5 nights straight or through. Looking
Mhm.
forward to that. So, what else is going on, Anna?
Well, this Sunday we had the 16th session on my Shieldlands campaign, and it ties very much into this because it was kind of politics about a keep. It was who's going to control a keep, and the characters are into defending a keep, and they signed up with the Shieldlands, so they have now put their efforts in with the Shieldlander, the Order of the Shield. So they are now they're first defenders of a keep. That is kind of cool because I implemented a lot of these kind of ideas and knowledge and stuff about the setting. So it's a small keep, fully stone, and has arrow slits at the bottom only, and has a stone roof, and it's kind of, yeah, I implemented a lot of the cool designs and stuff, and the whole full design of this keep will be available for everybody in like a month or so. So there will be, and the write-up is already available. You can read about the history of Alden and stuff on my Patreon blog. Those posts are available for everybody, so you can go back and read the history of the Alden village and stuff like that. You can kind of, if you want to develop your own setting, you can kind of go back a few hundred years and see what happened and who built that keep, etc., etc. So that's part of my ongoing campaign. And actually tomorrow I will play in a Temple of Elemental Evil game, and it's awesome. It's one of the players, Doug, in Brian Wakenham's campaign, that is running a Temple of Elemental Evil, slightly twisted, I think.
Slightly
we'll see.
twisted. Uh-oh.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a little bit different. So we'll see. Yep. So he is going to run that. We've had one first session, and this will be the second session for me tomorrow.
Anna's got a lot going on this channel in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So...
No, that game will not be on Twitch. No. But next week I will be back with mapping live stream again, and we'll see what day I will do that. It will either be Monday or Friday. I'm not really sure. So we'll see. I might do Monday because a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm so busy on Friday." So we'll see if I can do it Monday instead. So maybe I even do twice if people are nice to me and come with nice comments and pop in. We'll see, but I'll definitely do one
thanks, Patrick.
map live stream again next week. And now for my patrons, I've just posted the what I think the final first version, the version 1.5 of the Planet Earth model, so to speak. And it was fairly comprehensive, and I think it's good enough for now. Then we can go back and take more long-term criticism of it. I already saw some people taking early versions of that and run with it and posted on Facebook names and stuff. They kind of, oh, my this type of people live here and stuff like that. So I love to see that my maps are already starting to be used and people use them creatively to come up with new cool ideas and stuff. That's awesome. That's exactly what I want them to be, so to speak. So that is coming, and there will be more of that. There will be hot earth and cold earth, coming out as well. And also the what I will do now is to take this planetary model and update the Flanny's terrain map. And so it will be updated. There are some islands that need to be fixed. There are ice coverage and some other things that need to be tweaked. And then I can go in and update the 2021 versions of both the Flanny's map and the Atlas. So, but I need to do the terrain map. So that's the next big project, is to bring up the old terrain map that I started working on over 20 years ago. And then I think it was 4 years ago, I did a major revision of it when I tweaked the colors and stuff like that. That was 3 or 4 years ago. And now comes the next major revision when there will be more of a, I will look at things that are on the fringes, especially up north. There will be additions and tweaks and stuff.
And that's
so that's
cool.
the yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the major things that are going on. Yeah.
So thanks, Anna. But wait to hear all the stuff Anna's involved in shortly. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't mention that.
Yes. So here we go. I'm going to go back to my back to the screen here. Tomorrow night, stream 2 of the week, Thursday night. Infiltration in the Free City. I'm in the Free City of Greyhawk again. Haven't been there in a while. With a group we haven't used in like 2.5 years, Vengeful Justice. Now, I'm short a couple players. Bill's on vacation and Walt can't make it, but that's okay. Tom and Alan will be there. We're going to have some fun in this one. And that is tomorrow night, and it's a Troller Game sponsored giveaway drawing. If you've seen the pictures, I've gotten a lot of likes. Thank you for all these on Facebook and all over. But I have done up the Petit Bazaar area on my table. And this is a blow up of the Petit Bazaar and the Abel Carter Coaching Company and all sorts of other locations. And here's a larger, pick of the area. So I'm excited to do this area of Greyhawk, have some fun with it. And we will. Thanks, Naz. So and that's what's going to be going on tomorrow night. Friday night we have the Fantasy Mapping Show, which we discussed, and there's a link to that, and that'll be a great discussion. Saturday morning we have an Anna's in this too, and we have the final. We're gonna finish up the Casey Brown's BK tourney. Yeah, hey, Noble, thank you, Noble Crumpet. Thank you for the raid in. Please, everyone, if you're so inclined, please go over and give Noble Crumpet a follow over on their channel. That'd be really awesome. So thank you so very much. And it's Anna, Kayla, Jose Ortiz, Josh Pop, and William Henry Dvorak's going to take John Birchfield's place to finish this tourney up. And that's at 10 a.m. So I don't have a stream at night this week, but I do next week. Okay, so this is Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. We finish up. This will finish up. Casey will close the door on this new Bandit Kingdom tourney because we got one. I'll discuss that in a second coming up on Greyhawk Con. And then let's do one more here Sunday night. Scab and I switched. So we're going to do a Free City Greyhawk campaign update and tell you all the things that have happened in the last 2 years in Greyhawk, including going over some of the mountain map locations from Living Greyhawk journal that I have and I've incorporated in the game. Talk about what happened. A lot of people don't know what happened in Expeditions of the Ruins of Greyhawk in our game. It's very important. It may change some things. Talk about that. Talk about the mercenary groups. Talk about my article in the Earth Journal about the mercenary groups. Yeah, we're gonna go through that discussion. Noble Crumpet people, please feel free to sign up for the giveaway. So that is coming. My scroll has paused there. Yes, we want to finish it up. We want to finish up that tourney. So next week, Saturday night special, big game Anna's in this. So we're gonna get another adventure. We have look at this group: Stella Luna. I forgot your name on here.
It's okay. I mean so much anyway. So I feel like I mean a bit too much. That others that need to be exposed to and get the.
Look at this group: Stella Luna playing her half Drow Ranger Thief, Sierra. Tea Time with Taryn. Jose Ortiz playing his Inquisitor. Right?
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Character.
Mike Disney playing Skarn, Casey Brown playing his duelist, and Anna playing Imri, her Ranger Mage, and Kayla, Tom Lord's wife, is going to try and make this. If she doesn't make it, I may add a 7th character. We'll see. But it's called Sidetracked Adventure 922. So that'll be fun, and that is next Saturday night. So yeah, Jose's Inquisitor is awesome. So we get to see Jose play his Inquisitor. And we got a really cool picture.
And Jose is awesome too.
When is Chuck coming back? I don't know. He's on the timeout right now, Balfrin, and I'll explain that to you off camera. I'm just kidding. Chuck is so overwhelmed with getting caught up, so I don't think he's got the time yet. Lastly, And then we'll do the giveaway and get out of here. Sign-ups start noon Sunday to sign up for events for Virtual Greyhawk Con. I think we're almost up to 60. I just got today, Steven Chenault is DMing his game on Friday for Troller Games with open signups. If you want to play in Steven's game, there you go. Casey Brown's tournament is there. All of us have a lot of wonderful events going on. And here's this highlighted stream schedule. This is not all the events. The highlighted stream schedule is set up and done and ready to go. Here is Friday, okay? And it starts with Mike Disney's painting, Don't Blink, which is Time Lord's wife, Kayla. Where the Dogwoods Bloom, that is Steven Chenault. And then he's got Tricks of the Trade. We have a map and campaign of Anna Meyer. Blue Box is the main stream of the night, Greyhawk Session 1, and then Armin takes it overnight at 12 a.m. from New Zealand. Which there's signups. Every game has signups here. Yes, Saturday starts at 4 a.m. These times are all Eastern, by the way, because Tom Van de Veen Oranier is going to run the Elmshire Murder, and he's in Belgium. So there you go. So if you want a real late night or early morning game, you want to hop in, there it is for you. You want to hop in the Ever Mysterious Tim's game too. That's that morning. You got Superior Event, Guild Superior. You got a Hamlet game with Stella. Then you got a Tomb of the Lizard King game with Mandy at Prayers Rejects. And then you have my main event, the Grand Melee Competition of Altamira, with 6 open signups. Armin Zavad Part 2 there from New Zealand. And then our last but not least Sunday, finishing things up, we got early in the morning, 8 a.m., Lawful Stupid from the UK, a 2E game. And you have Wily Hobbit, Murder in Cavick's Grove. You have another Hamlet game by Nightheart Gaming. Another Greyhawk Session game from everything's Greyhawk, by the way, from Blue Box, and then my Ask the Experts, which we've asked a lot of people. Eric Mona should be here. Gary hopefully will be here. I've asked Eric Boyd, Malden, Grodog, the whole crew. So there you go. All right. Everything's Greyhawk, of course. Everything's Greyhawk here. So, and note, these are available if you want. They're coming in any day, and that is my Return to the Moat House T-shirts. They're available on the site as well. You have to sign up for the con to be able to purchase one. The shipping is included to the continental U.S. in the cost. And that is what's up, everyone. So let's do the giveaways. Sound good? Here's the click for the Virtual Greyhawk Con link. And there you go. And note, it's going to be a lot of fun. Lots and lots of fun. This is the second one. We did one last year. It was a great success. We can't wait. First weekend in October. All right. Please. Oh, look, there goes Gary. Let's see if Gary wins here. Gary, you've won. You got dice and stuff. I remember that.
He
won at least once a while back. So everything is Greyhawk. We have a couple games in there from Goodman Games, Matt Robertson, Great Apes running a couple that may not be specific to Greyhawk, but there's Castles and Crusades games, Goodman Games in 2E, 1E, 5E, Pathfinder, 3.5. It's all in there. You got a whole slew of options to choose. All right. And if you don't win this time, Monk, trust me, you will win eventually. Everyone eventually wins something. Alrighty, but no 4E. I don't think there's a 4E game.
No, I don't think I haven't seen any 4E.
So, yeah. You want some T-shirts and mugs, Gary? Well, sign up at Greyhawk Con and order them, man. See, he wants some. I'm kidding, Gary. I'm kidding. Here we go. The winners. Dun, dun, dun. Note, there's giveaways tomorrow night, too. Hey, what's up, Tabletop Santa? Good to see you. Winner. First winner. Ranger Harley.
Oh, awesome! Congratulations.
Right. Which one do you want, Ranger Harley? Of the three, Ranger Harley. Do you want the Deep Dwarven Delve? Do you want the Ghost Tower? Remember, these are all reprints, by the way. Or do you want the Moricane's Fantastic Adventure? Ranger Harley, which one will you want? You tell me, and I will send them out. You pick. Your pick. All right. Second winner. All right. So what? You want this one? You want Moricane's Fantastic Adventure? There you go. Cool.
Good choice.
Pick door
Yep.
number 2.
It's got a castle.
Yeah.
Winner is. Oh my gosh, Balfrin. Wow.
Awesome.
There you go, Balfrin.
Yeah.
You did it. So, see that new Egg Greenwood Drow book and campaign for 5. Yeah, I did. Siren. And plus, I got some good announcements there in 1 second. Balfrin, Deep Dwarven Delver, White Plume Mountain, your call, man. I don't think I have your address either. So which one would you want out of these two? This is a Len Kafka adventure and reprint. So, and this one is, a classic. So you tell me which one, Balfrin. L3, you got it, man. Good pick. All righty. So here's a note the following dates. The week after Greyhawk Con, which is October 10th, Sunday, October 10th, Ed Greenwood and Eric Mengi will be back on Gabbin. Okay, we'll continue the Spellcaster or do some other discussion. Saturday, November 6th, I get to DM for Ed Greenwood again as we continue the adventures of 2 Drink Minimum, that group, Anna. So there we go.
That's
set.
the best group
Yes.
name ever. 2 drinks minimum.
Yes.
Yep.
So we got those dates already set with Ed Greenwood. Already got them. A game and another Gabbin already set. So hey, I'm putting them way out. I mean, that's just the dates that work there. So congrats to the winners. Please note, every show I give away something. We have giveaways tomorrow night from Troller Games. So there you go. So we'll see you all tomorrow night. Who are we gonna raid into?
Yeah.
I raided into Stella last week.
Yeah.
Praetors. We want to raid into Praetors tonight?
Yeah, and thank you everybody who watched and had so many awesome comments
Yes.
and chat and stuff.
Yes.
It's so
And
wonderful.
And thank you,
Yeah.
and thank you very much. And note that there's always something going on here, and we have a wonderful, wonderful community. And Monk, it's good to see you join the community. We always, welcome everyone with open arms. Thank you, Zump. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Yeah.
All right, so what we're gonna do is let's raid into Praetors tonight, and see you tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern, for a great game. Oh, thanks, Uncle Fuzz. All right, send up the raid. Raid in, say hello, and if you got a bolt after that, please do. Let's see if we can get a nice large raid going in. Raid. Send it up. Cool. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See everyone tomorrow night. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Make sure it worked. Awesome. Anna, those were great, those were